Chapter 207, The Velvet Glove and the Iron Hand. Chapter 207, The Velvet Glove and the Iron Hand. Sensing Zhuofan's unnatural disposition, Luo Yunchang smiled widely as she cajoled. Zhuofan, Yunhai is still just a child. He can't be. A light flick of his hand cut her off. Zhuofan had his eyes fixed on Luo Yunhai, cold as ice. Kid, is this your final decision? Even a profound heaven expert would feel his knees soften and scalp going numb when Zhuofan stared at him like a viper. Luo Yunhai was still wet behind his ears, and the effect was even worse despite hesitating. Luo Yunhai's nod was firm. Big bro Zhuo can kill them if he wants. But I do not believe they should die by our hands. Humph, naive. Li Jingtian and Yen Song chuckled. Zhuofan squinted, and turned to the traitors. His gaze sent shivers down their spines and made their hearts feel as if it would explode in their chests in the end. Zhuofan had the final say. The only good thing about the wimp Luo Yunhai was his title as future clan head, emphasis on the future, but out of everyone's expectations, Zhuofan nodded a sigh. No choice then. I really wanted to waste them, but since clan head spoke, we shall do it as he decided. Elder Yen, release them. And come again. Yen Song was dumbfounded. Steward Zhuo, are you sure? Getting a nod, Yen Song removed their restrictions and the traitor found themselves free to move. They cautiously watched Zhuofan while gazing at Luo Yunhai baffled. They were in denial, never believing the ruthless Zhuofan would defer to a wimpy kid. Their hearts were in chaos, not knowing what to do. So they began kowtowing in thanks for having their lives spared, but no clue as to who to thank. They were still baffled. Should they be thanking Zhuofan or the kid? Now that clan had spared you, take a hike. But Elder Kai, I still feel the need to stress something. Zhuofan's eyes flashed as his tone dropped. You will never get the chance to use the Luo clan to rise. Shuddering, Kai Rong understood his hidden meaning. He sighed, taking his son and the other two through the door. Zhuofan's meaning was simple. The Luo clan was strong enough to fend off the 7 houses. The Kai clan also had a stake in this powerful clan, but, unfortunately, he was blinded by the 7 houses' exaggerated renown and jumped aboard the wrong boat. The Luo clan's future was going to be one of constant development, and the 7 houses could no longer look down on them. But this no longer concerned this father and son pair. They brought this on themselves. Once the 4 were gone, all eyes were on Zhuofan, finding him unlike his usual self today. This was the very first time he relented the decision in favor of another, to a kid no less. Luo Yunhai was baffled as well. He recalled how every time he ever talked back when they were fleeing for their lives, Zhuofan would hit him good. Zhuofan, a servant, took advantage of his master's plight and vented. But this time, Big Brother Zhuo, you aren't yelling at me for going against your decision? Luo Yunhai blinked. Zhuofan smiled. Kid, you are Luo clan head and I the steward. Any advice is just that, advice. It is up to you to follow it. There's no disobedience here at all. Moreover, I said you have to deal with them, not kill them outright. Letting go of a few ants would hardly matter. The others exclaimed in realization, while also admiring Zhuofan. Zhuofan may be cunning and deceitful, but he always held the benefit of the Luo clan above all else. He could have easily taken control of everything, but he instead worked tirelessly to raise Luo Yunhai into handling the clan's affairs. This was a clear-cut sign he was willing to relinquish his power. What man in a powerful position would ever think of giving it all away? What the others didn't know was that Zhuofan prepped everything ever since the clan's misfortune. He didn't want a puppet but a truly strong clan. Otherwise, he would have been better off if he had made his own faction instead. Sigh, I am both assured and sad by your decision. Zhuofan shook his head and sighed. Luo Yunhai asked curiously, Big Brother Zhuo, how can you be both? You may not realize, but I am assured since you gathered up the nerve to stand up to me. As for sadness, that is because you are walking a completely opposite path from mine. All my time teaching you had gone down the drain. Luo Yunhai looked to her sister for an answer, but everyone was as clueless as he was smiling wryly. Zhuofan elaborated, every single ruler, be it a king, sect leader, or a mere clan head, rises to their position through their own way. There are of course thousands, tens of thousands of ways, but they all can be narrowed down to two. One is ruling the people with a velvet glove, and the other with an iron hand. When I do things, I don't need a reason. While you, kid, started preaching about righteousness and loyalty. Sigh, our paths are indeed opposite. They all started smiling wryly, with Luo Yunchang teasing. With the Luo clan always having Steward Zhuo around, everyone started shaking in fear every day. Fearing they'd slip up and get a tongue lashing from you. If Yunhai ends up like you, the clan would be done for. They all burst out laughingly. Jingtian and Yen Song nodded instead. One Zhuofan had these two experts bending a knee. Despite their elder positions, it mattered not when this guy was around. If there were two Zhuofan, that would be a disaster. They'd end up as slaves. They were immensely gratified that the future clan head, Luo Yunhai, would have a different path than the demon Zhuofan, but not for the Luo clan. It was all in self-interest, relishing a better future in the clan. However, Zhuofan mocked with a shake of his head, women aren't as witty as their long hair suggests. All people respect ruling with a velvet glove, but it is used merely as a front while its core is rotten. How many people in this world truly rule with a velvet glove? The large majority rule with an iron hand in a velvet glove. If the Luo clan truly wants to grow into a benevolent clan, humph, I won't give it 2 years before it suffers calamity again. What? Then I'd rather walk the path of the iron hand like you. Luo Yunhai blurted, get those 4 back at once. I won't be as lenient. Luo Yunhai spoke with eyes filled with tears. The slaughter 2 years ago was still very fresh in his mind, and his judgment was clouded by it. He absolutely couldn't let it happen again. Zhuofan could see the struggle in his heart as well. Shaking his head, Zhuofan rubbed the kid's head. The world may change, but your decision is final. The reason for today's affair was to see if you had it in you to be a clan head. Ha ha ha, and you passed with flying colors. The second reason was to see your path. It is a bit disappointing, but no worries, you have me. What you don't want to do, I will do it for you. You don't want a bloodshed, I will erect a bone tower and throne for you to stand on. You rule with a velvet glove, and I will sweep everything with an iron hand. All until there is no one around to defy your word. Big Brother Zhuo. Luo Yunhai wailed as he threw himself in his embrace. Luo Yunchang bit her lip, tears glistening. Thank you. The others nodded with even more respect. The Luo clan may have nothing, but with Zhuofan there, it was enough. Old Peng, take the brat to Dugu army. He patted Luo's back and smiled. Had your path been the same as mine, I would have guided you in your cultivation. But now I see that old Dugu is the best suited for the job. Captain Peng pulled an unwilling Luo Yunhai away. Zhuofan turned to the rest. You may all return to your duties. Elder Yen, Elder Li, you two stay. The others left, leaving only Li Jingtian and Yen Song behind. Zhuofan sighed. Just how is this possible? I've taught him for half a month already. Is Steward Zhuo still not over it? That brat must be like a son to you. Li Jingtian chuckled, but he couldn't hide the admiration. But Steward Zhuo, I bow before you in true admiration. If it were me, I'd have long taken power in this wretched and weak clan for myself. I've never seen one as devoted as you. The Luo clan is indeed steadfast and righteous. You have my entire respect. Yeah, Steward Zhuo may be doing everything with an iron hand, but you are treating the Luo clan with a velvet glove. Such deep emotions and ethical behavior. I wonder what great favor has the Luo clan head done to Steward Zhuo to earn such devotion into raising his children? Yen Song cupped his hands in respect. Zhuofan rolled his eyes. His relation with the former clan head was non-existent. It was all that damned heart demon's fault. Although his course of action was no longer entirely because of it, as he started to care for the Luo clan. But when it was all said and done, everything was in self-interest, so when they said he was using a velvet glove, he had to chuckle. You too have roamed the land for many years. Do any notable experts in fire and water attributes come to mind? Juefan suddenly asked. They exchanged a glance and said, "Why do you ask, Steward Jua?" Squinting, Juefan replied, "Luo clan is currently safe, but trouble will soon come knocking. Of the 4 arrays, the Poison Dragon array in the east is handled by Elder Yen, and the Dazzling Gold array in the west by Elder Li, a body cultivator. I still need 2 experts to control the Black Flame array in the south and the Ice Shadows array in the north. If an attack comes, the 4 arrays can fend it off and also correlate with each other in not letting anyone out once they enter." Frowning, Li Jingtian said, "2 names come to mind now that I know what Steward Jua is looking for." "Who?" Juefan asked anxiously. "Raging Ancestor, Qiu Yanhai, and Ice Moon Witch, Shui Qingjian." "What, those 2 old monsters?" Vicious Pill King yelled and started shaking his head vehemently. "Absolutely not. Those monsters are stubborn as mules. They refuse to leave their seclusion even when Regent Estate invited them. The Regent Estate ended up forcing their way to them only to suffer dearly. None disturbed them since." "Oh, and how is their strength?" Juefan raised an eyebrow. "5th layer of Radiant Stage." Li Jingtian's eyes shined. "I once fought with them myself. If the fight was one-on-one, I would have won, but they were working together, water and fire combined. Not even 5 of me could endure their attacks for long." "Oh, they know how to combine fire and water? He, very good. It's settled then." Juefan grinned. "We're off at sunup." "But Steward Jua, how do we invite them?" Yen Song blinked in worry, snorting. Juefan snickered. "What invitation? I have always used an iron hand in everything. Elderly, do you still have the 2 spring pills?" "Of course, it's such an amazing pill and can't bear to throw it." "Ha ha ha." The 3 shared a glance and started snickering evilly. Chapter 208 Fire and Water Conflict. Chapter 208 Fire and Water Conflict. At the crack of dawn, Juefan started on his journey with Li Jingtian to find those 2 old monsters without so much as a goodbye. He left Yen Song behind. Luo Yunchang was mad after she heard Yen Song tell her this. "He's leaving and going whenever like this place is a tavern." Lei Yuding was just as pissed, because ever since his return, he has not once talked to her. They only spoke about the affairs of the outside and the Luo clan, never freely. Humph, that brat must be seeing someone outside. Lei Yuding's jaw was in a vice, her knuckles white, ready to pounce like a tigress. 3 days later, Dugu Zhantian had received imperial summons to return. The Dugu army left swiftly, taking with them Luo Yunhai. Since he was his 5th godson at the moment of parting with the Luo clan, Luo Yunhai felt somewhat sad seeing that Juefan wasn't there to see him off. It was normal for Dugu Zhantian to go off to war for decades, and who knew when the 2 would see each other again. He started feeling down. Luo Yunchang rubbed his head in an attempt to console him, but it proved useless. Juefan came and went as he pleased, though all knew he always had the Luo clan's best interest in every move. But every time he does this, it leaves everyone with a cold feeling. You could at least say goodbye to the child. But Juefan never even considered such trifles. He only had long-term returns in mind. 3 months later, 2 men stood in front of a 100-mile-long steep and winding mountain range. Not able to see the end of it caused Juefan to sigh. The mountain before them was called Snowfire Peak. One half was covered in endless snow, while the other in towering flames that made the entire sky shimmer from the heat. Its scorching blaze burned everything in a 10-mile radius. What was curious about it was the middle ground, where the ice and fire met. The transition was jarring, as if someone drew a line. One step you'd be in ice, the next in a furnace. People couldn't help but sigh at the world's wonders. But Juefan knew this wasn't made by Mother Nature but men. This used to be a vibrant place full of life, not the Snowfire Peak what was called today. This happened due to two old monsters staying here. They up and started trading blows, shaping the mountain range with every exchange into this, a hell of fire and ice. How long did they fight to change the place so damn much? Zhuofan sighed. But in his mind, he approved of such actions. Even in the radiant stage, such power was impressive for these experts to have. They sure fit the bill for who he was looking for. Li Jingtian laughed wryly. Steward Zhua, they are a couple that used to fight against Tianyu and caused fear at their mere mention. But their character is strange, to put it mildly. They each cultivate an opposing cultivation method. They are unreasonable and do not answer to anyone. In the end, they settled here and the empire calmed. Though they did ruin this fine place into this, ha ha ha. Since that's the case, how come Regent Estate couldn't get them? Zhuofan raised an eyebrow, shaking his head. Li Jingtian sighed. Steward Zhua, this pair is bizarre to extreme. You need to look beyond their mere lovers' spat. Once an enemy comes, they both rise to meet it. Their cooperation is seamless. At the time, 10 Radiant stage experts were forced to withdraw, beaten to a pulp and filled with anger. I see. They look to be at odds, but their hearts are together. To protect each other. Zhuofan nodded. Then, a sudden soul ripple passed over the two. They realized on the spot they'd been spotted. Elderly, you know what to do, right? Zhuofan spoke coldly, snickering. Li Jingtian nodded. Of course, outsmart our betters, ha ha ha. Li Jingtian. With a whoosh, a man in red came from the burning side of the mountain range, bellowing with such rage that jarred the two's ears. Zhuofan eyed him carefully. He was a bald man in his 60s, had vibrant eyes as if they could shoot out flames, and heat seemed to be coming from his body constantly. Not 30 meters from him, Zhuofan could feel as the scorching heat was evaporating even his sweat. He reckoned that any closer would have him combust. His fire yuan qi is so pure. Zhuofan admired. Li Jingtian took a step in front of Zhuofan to shield him and shouted, Qiu Yanhai, it's been ages, but more uncouth than ever, it seems. You even release such pressure in front of a junior. Humph, uncouth? Were you and Regent Estate any different? There were 10 of you and only 2 of us back then. Qiu Yanhai mocked, his eyes staring at Li Jingtian. Mad Dipper, why are you here? There's no way you can beat us alone. Snickering, Li Jingtian said, Raging Ancestor, take it easy. I've not come as your enemy. It is this young master of ours who has a fire physique, and the Imperial Tyrant body art isn't suited to him. I was tasked by the Estate Lord to bring him here so you can take him as a disciple. Disciple? Qiu Yanhai frowned. Your Regent Estate has many cultivation methods. Why must you come for mine specifically? Ha ha ha, you're absolutely right. Regent Estate has many cultivation methods, but none greater than Imperial Tyrant body art. This young master wants to go higher, and has to train in the best fire cultivation method in the Empire. Which brings me to you. Everyone knows Raging Ancestor's Heaven-Searing Inferno is second only to the 7 houses' cultivation methods in the profound rank. Qiu Yanhai nodded, but the mere mention of Regent Estate stirred a raging fire in him. How could he take a disciple? He snorted, Li Jingtian, you've become more yellow on the inside ever since you joined the Regent Estate. If you wanted to show some goodwill in wanting me to have this kid as a disciple, the Estate Lord should have come himself. But seeing you here instead, proves all of Regent Estate is only a den of dogs. Li Jingtian was starting to get angry. Humph. I'm the yellow-bellied one? We'll see who has real guts once you swallow this thrifty little bloodworm. Raging Ancestor, enough bullshit. Will you take him, or not? No. Qiu Yanhai barked. You dare ask me to take your young master as a disciple when your 10 venerables had us 2 surrounded back then? Li Jingtian, you think I'm as gutless as you? Li Jingtian gnashed his teeth, his patience wearing dangerously thin. He could only curse, we'll see soon enough. But just then, an annoyed voice sounded, Elderly, your boasting of raging ancestor to high heavens barely convinced me to come take a look. And what do I see now that I'm here? Hardly anything to look at. He's even worse than our profound heaven elders. Qiu Yanhai looked to see Zhuofan mocking him and snapped, "Cut the crap! I once fought 10 of your venerables and didn't lose once. How dare you say that? Isn't it?" Zhuofan pointed at the mountain range with childlike fascination. "Look, our profound heaven elders scorched a mountain so thorough that it can't freeze. But you are so weak, with little yuan qi, letting half of it freeze back." Qiu Yanhai was flummoxed. Did the regent estate have such an ignorant youth to not even know of the fight between these two great experts? To save his own face, Qiu Yanhai was forced to preach to the child. "Kid, I don't quibble with ignorant youths. But you need to understand something. This wasn't a mountain set on fire, but the result of the bitter battle between me and my wife." "Wow, amazing!" Zhuofan exclaimed. "You caused all this just from the aftermath of your battles. Not even our venerables can do that." Qiu Yanhai nodded pleased, "Sensible lad." But Zhuofan's next line had him close to spitting blood. "Old Qiu, your wife is amazing. She almost froze your fire." Qiu Yanhai shuddered from rage. "Punk, stop your nonsense. That's absolutely ridiculous. It is my fire that melted her ice." Raging ancestor, who fought his wife for all this time, hated to be told he was weaker than her. Zhuofan knew this and still did it just to spite him. Zhuofan shared a glance with Li Jingtian, and the two were giddy inside, but before Zhuofan could irk the old man some more, an elegant voice rang, "Little brother is so adorable. Sister could just eat you up. Hear that, you old coot? Even this pup can see you're weaker, so just admit it." A white figure floated before them. Zhuofan looked to see a 17-year-old delicate girl, with bright eyes and dazzling smile. But Zhuofan knew it fully well. She was 100-years-old hag, and when she started to call herself sister, it sent a chill right down to his core. He just couldn't make sense of something. The higher one cultivated, the long one's life was and the stronger one got. But this woman fancied wasting some of her cultivation to keep herself young and fit, to look like a fetching lady. If this part would have been used to improve her strength, she would have soared by now. Wouldn't she have beaten the old guy ages ago? Zhuofan shook his head. It was simply beyond his understanding, but that was normal. A pragmatic and cynical man who only saw gain would never understand why a woman dolled herself for her man. Chapter 209, Extreme Fire and Extreme Water. Chapter 209, Extreme Fire and Extreme Water. "You're so pretty, sister." Zhuofan entered kid mode the instant he saw her. Raining fake praises on her, the woman started pinching Zhuofan's little cheeks with a smile of joy. "That's so sweet, you little rascal. Sister doesn't much like anyone from Regent Estate, but I'll make an exception just for you." Zhuofan nodded with a smile, pointing at Qiu Yanhai. "Sister, are you his granddaughter? You look nothing alike. He's just so damn ugly. How can that thing ever relate to someone as beautiful as you?" The woman's charming laughter made the world seem vibrant. She then pinched Zhuofan's cheek stronger. "You're so adorable, you scamp." "Hi hi hi." The two spectators broke into a coughing fit. Li Jingtian in particular, who was doing his best to signal Zhuofan, "I say, Steward Zhua, I won't judge if you do it without even realizing. But if you are doing it knowingly, Sai, have you no conscience?" Qiu Yanhai stared a hole into Zhuofan and cursed. "Are your eyes for decoration? That hag is 100 years old. Even while using some cultivation to keep up appearances, her aura is nothing like that of a young lass. You mean to tell me that in all your time cooped up in Regent Estate you've never even seen a girl?" "Oh!" the woman replied before Zhuofan could, with a biting remark. "Old fart, just where exactly do you see me as a grandma and not a lady? You want to be slapped?" "Humph, I rest my case. What lady in her right mind would call herself grandma? You're so old, but ever shameless." Qiu Yanhai mocked. The women went red and huffed in anger as she sent a palm attack in a flash of white. Even the shimmering heat around them started turning into ice crystals. Qiu Yanhai was fully focused on fighting back. With a flick of his sleeve, a blaze erupted, blocking the white light. Old crone, you want to go at it again? And what if I am? Who told you to run your mouth before this child that this grandma is old? Humph, so what if I call you old? You're so on in years yet still thinking of raising a cherry boy into your sugar daddy? Shut your mouth, you old fart! The two snapped at each other at every chance they got. Zhuofan and Li Jingtian smiled inside. It was then that Li Jingtian shook his hands vehemently. People, I came here for this child to get a master, not to see a lover's spat. And since Brother Qiu is very much against the idea, we'll be taking our leave. Later, sister. Zhuofan waved sadly at the woman. The woman's heart softened and shouted, Wait, I love this child dearly. I'll teach him. You can teach shit. He has a fire physique, and only my fire cultivation method fits him. Why are you butting in when you're just a water cultivator? Qiu Yanhai retorted sourly. The woman brushed him off as she puffed out her chest. Grandma fought with you for so long that I figured out your heaven-searing inferno and know it like the back of my hand. Why can't I take this kid in? Qiu Yanhai paused for a moment, realizing the truth of it, but still ridiculed. He. I am not the best fire expert in Tianyu just from my cultivation method, but also this. His hand was holding a rumbling scarlet flame. Zhuofan's eyes widened in shock. Heaven and earth spirit flame, earth erupting fire sea. Kid, you've got quite the eyes. Qiu Yanhai raised an eyebrow, then nodded in pride. Precisely, if you were to be my disciple, beside the heaven-searing inferno, you will get a fragment of this earth-erupting fire sea. That will make you my true successor. Zhuofan nodded. Now he knew why Raging Ancestor was so strong to fend off 10 Radiant Stage experts alongside Ice Moon Witch. They were not only in sync, but had the earth-erupting fire sea as well. Despite all being called Heaven and Earth Spirit Flame, some were better than others. Vicious Pill King's Bone Soul Truefire came from the bowels of a corpse deep in the earth, a e'en but gentle flame. It was best used in refining, while falling short in combat. As for the earth-erupting fire sea, it came from the heart of a volcano, volatile to extreme. It was a young and fierce flame that not only helped in refining but also an important asset in battle. Zhuofan flicked his eyes on Li Jingtian. This guy got the upper hand on Qiu Yanhai back then, even when the other used the earth-erupting fire sea. It is obvious how strong his body was, and that was only at the 7th stage of Imperial Tyrant body art. Now, he not only changed to the Wraith art, but also had the 3 matching profound ranked martial arts. Who knew how far he could go? Mad Dipper was a martial fanatic through and through. He has a body of a refining genius. Zhuofan truly struck gold when he had this old man join his gang. Noticing his gaze and easily figuring out what he was thinking, Li Jingtian chuckled with his head thrown back. Sister. He said I can get the heaven and earth spirit flame if I become his disciple. What if? Zhuofan pointed at Qiu Yanhai with a bright smile, squinting. Ice Moon Witch wasn't about to back down just like that. Child, don't be so hasty. What that old guy has, so do I. Damn, the guy is a fire expert. Getting a heaven and earth spirit flame was a cinch for him. While you, a water expert, dare say you have one as well. Aren't you afraid it's gonna conflict with your cultivation method? But the next thing he knew, Zhuofan was staring into the Ice Moon Witch hand. She was holding a flickering and bright bluish fire. Zhuofan's eyes twitched and shouted, Holy hell, the Ice Heart Moon Soul? Correct. Among the rarest heaven and earth spirit flames, the one to match a water cultivator the most was this Ice Heart Moon Soul. This fascinating flame came to be in the core of a 10,000 years old ice that had been bathed by moonlight for another 10,000 years. Its warmth was bliss, its nature one that brought inner peace while also doing wonders to one's cultivation, but its most redeeming quality was that it could freeze any and every single thing in the world. No one could fend it off. Taking another look at the two, Juefan now knew why these monsters could repel Regent Estate's 10 venerables with earth-erupting fire sea and ice-heart moon soul working in tandem. Their power would explode. They were capable of drawing out the most of their power by joining hands. That was how they beat those 10 Radiant stage experts. Oh my, you sure know a lot, child. It is a rare heaven and earth spirit flame, but not many know of it. How is it you recognized the Ice Heart Moon Soul with just a glance? Shui Qingjian eyed him inquisitively. Juefan laughed wryly. Something I picked up from an ancient book, haha. Hey, the kid wants to train in fire. Your Ice Heart Moon Soul is pretty enough, but doesn't suit him. I advise you to stop butting in. Seeing Zhuo piqued Shui Qingjian's interest, Qiu Yanhai shouted, darting his eyes around in thought. Juefan caught on to something. He grabbed Shui Qingjian's hand and started waving it around in his best childlike tone. Sister, I really want to train with you, but our attributes don't match. I can't use the Ice Heart Moon Soul either. Can you make the old man share his earth-erupting fire sea with me? Hey, punk, hands off the crone. Qiu Yanhai was fuming mad. Shui Qingjian raised an eyebrow and laughed. All right, I'll help you. She turned to Qiu Yanhai. Old fart, are you up for a bet? What kind? Per usual. If you get even half a move over me, I won't take the kid as a disciple. If I get the upper hand, then you will give the earth-erupting fire sea to the kid as a gift to my disciple. What do you say? Shui Qingjian shouted. Juefan hugged Shui Qingjian. No, sister. I want to stay with you. I want no earth-erupting fire sea. No worries, child. This old geezer has never beaten me once. Patting his head, Shui Qingjian giggled. Qiu Yanhai was pissed off by the taunt. Damn punk, didn't I tell you to lay off the crone? No way. Shui Qingjian and Juefan jutted their chests and replied at the same time. One could almost see steam coming out of Qiu Yanhai's head. But since he didn't dare flare at Shui Qingjian, he directed it all on Li Jingtian. Old freak, you brought this pretty boy. After I finish here, I'll settle the score with you. Li Jingtian shrugged. Fine, it's a deal. Huffed Qiu Yanhai. Let's go to our old place. He vanished the instant he finished talking. Shui Qingjian laughed and followed, with Juefan shouting behind her. Sister, I don't care about that fire. Just don't get hurt. But when the two were gone, Juefan flipped back to his calm and calculating face. Have a pleasant flight, you two. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhua changes faces quite fast. If I didn't know you any better, that innocent act of yours would have taken me in from the start, thinking you're just a naive kid. Tone down the flattery. Juefan snapped his flickering eyes on Li Jingtian. You think those monsters are that easily fooled? Humph, they were always on guard. Does that mean our plan is botched? They won't fight? Hardly. Juefan snickered. Oh, they will fight all right and go all out as well. Because whenever the old hag wants a fight, the old guy will naturally assist her. But they will always be on guard, because of you. Li Jingtian frowned. Juefan continued with a chuckle, while disregarding me completely. Just then, a massive boom echoed, followed by the sky splitting in half. One side was filled with a raging inferno to burn the world asunder, while the other a fierce blizzard capable of freezing everything. Juefan snickered. One is extreme fire and the other extreme water, but neither can escape from my palm. I must have these elders. Chapter 210 Mad Battle of Fire and Water. Chapter 210 Mad Battle of Fire and Water. Boom. With shocking explosions that reached the ninth heaven, all the clouds scattered. It felt as if the world was heading to the end, and the earth quaking so hard it would crack open. Juefan and Li Jingtian were spectating at the foot of the mountain, nonplussed about it all. The battle went for 3 days. Despite the raging inferno towering on one side, It was unable to thaw the imposing glacier on the other side, even a fraction raging ancestor, and Ice Moon, which went back to their usual stalemate half a month later. Their battle only escalated. So much so that even Zhuofan and Li Jingtian could feel in danger. They had to retreat 100 miles finally after a long 2-month raging battle. It showed signs of subsiding. Zhuofan snickered. It won't be long now. After a constant 3 months racket, the place had finally become silent with one final boom. The flames swallowing half the sky retreated and the blizzard stopped. Zhuofan smiled. Elderly, it's our turn to join the act. Let's see your performance. Ha ha ha, ever since I switched to Wraith Art, my power has increased greatly over the month. I won't let Steward Zhua down. Laughing, Li Jingtian grabbed Zhuofan's hand and flew to Snowfire Peak. In the place where fire and water met on Snowfire Peak, Xue Qingjian was kneeling on the ice, gasping for breath. Scarlet blood dripped from her mouth, yet her dagger stare never left her opponent. Old fart, you finally went all out. Old hag. Qiu Yanhai, just as weakened as her, was shying away from looking Xue Qingjian in the eye. Forgive me, I ended up hurting you. Xue Qingjian squinted. Screw your apology. Who knew you're such a faker to hide your strength? You lied to me all these years. Speak, what is your real aim? Qingjian, don't misunderstand, I've joined with you so many times in fighting our enemies despite our differences. How can I have a nefarious aim? Why else would you hide your strength for so long? Half a year ago, I still thought we're still in a tug of war. How come you're stronger all of a sudden? Humph, you faker. Xue Qingjian flicked her head away. Qiu Yanhai was panicking. He scratched his head and then sighed. Qingjian, we've fought for more than 100 times these past decades. And each time I could have won. You are too brash and quick to anger to accept this outcome, so I kept this from you. Show off. But Xue Qingjian would have none of it, cutting him off with a glare. Why stop now then? Qiu Yanhai was startled and said in a sad voice, How could I not? If I lose now, you'll end up taking that pretty boy in. A lone man and a single young-looking woman together. Who knows what would happen? Xue Qingjian saw him all cold on the outside but quite warm and fuzzy on the inside, and burst out laughing. Qiu Yanhai was clueless. You big lug. You thought I didn't realize you were going easy all these years? Xue Qingjian smiled. Then she bore her hateful eyes in him. Humph, I only used the kid as an excuse to make a bet with you. It was the only way to make you go all out, or you'd still be keeping this charade. I may be quick to anger, but not petty. Qiu Yanhai blinked then beamed. You mean you didn't fancy the pretty boy? Well, Xue Qingjian showed a teasing smile. May not necessarily be untrue. I could just eat that kid up from how adorable he is. But that'll depend on how you behave. If you dare lie to me again, I won't stop at just 1 inch. I won't. In the rare case we fight again, I'll make sure to go all out and beat you silly. What? Xue Qingjian glared at him. Qiu Yanhai shrank back, smiling wryly as he scratched his head. Xue Qingjian couldn't help but laugh at his antic. The pair's decades-long spat had finally experienced closure. Whoosh! Suddenly, Li Jingtian brought Zhuofan over. Zhuofan was shocked to see Xue Qingjian hurt and ran over. Sister, you're hurt? Here's a pill to help you recover. Hey brat, you're not allowed to get too close. The old hag lost. Qiu Yanhai saw Zhuofan so concerned over her and jealousy won over him again. Zhuofan took out a vial for her. Sister, this spring pill can heal you and restore your yuan qi. Take it. Xue Qingjian frowned. She had her guard up even towards this seemingly innocent youth. Bam. Suddenly, the vial flew from his hand. Zhuofan turned to see Li Jingtian watching them coldly. What are you doing, elderly? Young master, they are Regent Estate's enemies. Now that they're weak, it's the best chance to kill them. Li Jingtian spoke with towering bloodthirst shining in his eyes. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai paled, and Zhuofan panicked. He spread his arms in front of Xue Qingjian. Stop, elderly. Aren't you here to help me get a master? Why? Humph, that would have been perfect. But killing them would be so much better. Snickering, Li Jingtian snorted, Young master, step aside. I don't want to hurt you or worse, kill you. I cannot bear such responsibility. Li Jingtian, how dare you? My dad. Not even the estate lord can save you. In fact, he may even agree to my actions. Exchanging a kid's life for 2 old enemies is totally worth it. Li Jingtian glared at Zhuofan. Zhuofan reeled 2 steps back in fear, unable to accept the cruel reality. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai nodded at each other. This was more like Regent Estate style. Oh, the pill! Zhuofan shouted. He started searching frantically for it. Sister, take the pill and recover. Li Jingtian squinted and sent a palm attack around where the vial landed, but a sudden figure blocked it. Raging ancestor Xue Qingjian then picked the vial and said, Little brother, is this pill that good? Of course. Zhuofan smiled in glee. Li Jingtian shuddered, worried she was going to take the pill. He charged at her with another palm attack, but Qiu Yanhai was there to block him again, using his earth-erupting fire sea to launch a sea of flames. Boom! Earth-erupting fire sea was strong, but Li Jingtian had toughened up since before. And since Qiu Yanhai had fought for 3 months, he was no longer Li Jingtian's match. Fresh blood spurted from Qiu Yanhai as he flew into the air. Li Jingtian then shot for Xue Qingjian. Fire and water combine, dragon and phoenix. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai shouted at the same time. Their hand signs synced and a pair of fire dragon and ice phoenix formed behind them. The fire dragon was made from the earth-erupting fire sea, and the phoenix from the ice heart moon soul. The 2 pointed and the mighty creature fused their powers, charging for Li Jingtian. With the phoenix and dragon working in tandem, their powers were feeding off each other, growing tens of times stronger. When they arrived before Li Jingtian, they were 1,000 meters large. Zhuofan clicked his tongue inwardly. This is a fire and water combining art that amplified each element's power geometrically. Even a 6th-layer radiant stage expert will receive a heavy wound taking such an attack head-on. But that was regarding your run-of-the-mill radiant stage expert. And Li Jingtian was anything but that. Zhuofan didn't notice a snicker creeping on his lip. He was fully confident of Li Jingtian, and sure enough, Li Jingtian didn't lose his calm in front of such an onslaught. With a shout, his entire body was covered in black energy, the Wraith art. Li Jingtian turned into a black diamond and charged the attack as a black dragon image formed behind him. Wraith Style's first move, Soaring Demonic Dragon. Roar! The whale threatened to collapse the skies. A black dragon was facing off against a pair of fire dragon and ice phoenix. The impact affected even the Snowfire Peak. Despite being covered in ice and flames, it threatened to crumble in the aftermath. Roar! With another dragon roar, Li Jingtian saw he was caught in a deadlock and shouted, Wraith Style's second move, Ghostly Dragon Claw. The fire dragon and ice phoenix were swept by a claw, exploding in wails. The shockwave even stripped the Snowfire Peak's ice and fire. Rumble. The rumbling continued as the waves spread across the entire mountain range, removing the ice and fire completely. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai were thrown back dozens of steps. They were looking in fear at Li Jingtian, as if he was a demonic god. Even exhausted as they were, they would have had no trouble fending off the old Li Jingtian. But it was clear that Li Jingtian wasn't the one of old. He was a true Mad Dipper now. He was unlike his past self. Now, he was like a living demonic god. Tens of times stronger than both of their weakened selves' attacks combined. That's no imperial tyrant body art. What freaky art are you training in? Qiu Yanhai swallowed in shock, grinning. Li Jingtian was immensely pleased by his progress and also grateful to Zhuofan. Humph, the dead need not know. The 2 jerked, knowing now Li Jingtian was not going to stop until either side was dead. The way they were now, they were no match for Li Jingtian. That left them with one choice only. Xue Qingjian looked at the vial in her hand, at the spring pill inside. Zhuofan snickered secretly. Hook, line and sinker. Chapter 211 Two Spirit Animals. Chapter 211 Two Spirit Animals. Sister, run, I'll hold him off, Zhuofan shouted. He threw himself at Li Jingtian to hold him back. Li Jingtian barked. Young master, what are you doing? Don't force my hand. I don't care. You are not allowed to harm sister, Zhuofan shouted. His eyes filled with resolve. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai were moved. They looked in each other's eyes and nodded. Xue Qingjian opened the vial and gave a pill to Qiu Yanhai. I don't know if the pill will be of much help, but we cannot let the boy's efforts be in vain. He, old hag, that pretty boy must have got under your aged but still pretty skin. Qiu Yanhai grinned. Xue Qingjian snapped to hide her blush. Old fart, you're still a wise ass despite being an antique. Hurry up and take the pill so we can live through this. Xue Qingjian stroked the ring on her finger and muttered, Sweetie, come out and protect me. Shriek. With a cry, a 20-meter-long white falcon appeared overhead. It flew in circles above, releasing a cold wind that blew to form a barrier around her. 5th-level spiritual beast, Snow Falcon. Zhuofan and Li Jingtian cried. The shock was far from over, as Qiu Yanhai also shook his hand with a smile. A roar echoed in everyone's ears as a scarlet tiger with flaming wings came out of his ring. The scarlet tiger circled Qiu Yanhai, its 10-meter-long tail flicked at a 50-meter-tall cliff, rendering it into rubble. Its fiery eyes staring daggers into Li Jingtian, 5th-level spiritual beast, Earthcore Flame Tiger. Li Jingtian's eyes trembled, as did his heart. He was in ever more awe of Zhuofan. It all went just as he said. This old pair may have fought each other till they went senile, but still had kept a hidden card to deal with him. He didn't see such spirit animals the last time they fought, thus making them the couple's last card. Zhuofan was also wide-eyed, rather from excitement than fear. The more the old monsters had up their sleeve, the more he felt they were worth the effort. Young master, step aside. I have to settle them here and now. No! Li Jingtian roared, but Zhuofan still held him tight. Irritated, Li Jingtian slapped Zhuofan. Then you only have yourself to blame for what comes next. Despite the fierce palm attack, Zhuofan showed no fear. Xue Qingjian's eyes jumped but only shouted, Kid, we will avenge you. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai swallowed a pill each without an ounce of hesitation. They sat cross-legged to absorb it as the two 5th-level spiritual beasts stood guard. Creak. Li Jingtian's deadly palm grounded to a halt. Zhuofan snickered, easily slapping the palm away. Pa. Zhuofan straightened and eyed Li Jingtian with a wicked smile. All that's left is for them to absorb the pill. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhua truly works in mysterious ways. You're far more cunning than that unwanted contriver. Those two actually took the so-called pills. They used to be so cautious about everything, only to fail in the end. Li Jingtian laughed. The two spiritual beasts were stunned. Their masters called them out to stand guard, but why was it that this old guy was taking his sweet time, with not even a measly intention to attack? Zhuofan snickered. Elder Li, easy on the flattery. There's nothing mysterious about my skills. I only guided them to this outcome. The more dangerous the moment, the easier it is for a cautious man to let his guard down. If he can see a thread of hope, he will grab it without fail. A bitter pill to swallow is quite the fitting description, don't you think? All I did was set up the stage for this peril to unfold, and make them swallow a pill they had no knowledge of. Li Jingtian's eyes shined in admiration. He is mighty in the pen and the sword. His methods are convoluted and impossible to see through them. He is the genius of the millennium. By the way, Zhuofan eyed Li Jingtian puzzled. Elderly, you said Regent Estate wanted to subdue this pair and even sent 10 radiant stage experts. But didn't unwanted contriver Leng Wuchang pull any tricks? Ha ha ha, of course he did. Only he lacked your bloodworms. So his only plan was to surround the two with Regent Estate's forces. But it backfired instead, and the matter was dropped. The estate lord at the time wanted to force the pair into submission, but was forced to forget about this when they were just too stubborn and had no way to make them capitulate. Zhuofan nodded. It wasn't Lung Wuchang's fault for not succeeding, but the lack of means to do it. Without his bloodworms, even Zhuofan would have gone home empty-handed. As they talked, the couple slowly opened their eyes and shot to their feet. But the view left them speechless. Where did Li Jingtian's fierce bloodthirst go? Why was the kid safe and sound? They recalled how the last image before closing their eyes was that of Li Jingtian's devastating palm coming swiftly on the kid's head. Zhuofan easily saw through their doubt and bowed. Seniors, let me reintroduce myself. I am not from Regent Estate, but Luo clan's steward, Zhuofan. I represent our clan head when I invite seniors into our clan as elders. Please allow us this boundless honor, seniors. What? The two were shell-shocked as they turned to Li Jingtian. He nodded with a laugh. As you can guess, I'm no longer Regent Estate's venerable, but Luo clan's elder. I was reminded of your impressive power, and since you didn't belong to any house, we came to extend an invitation. The two's hearts shuddered from shock. Who was this Luo clan to win over Li Jingtian, an astounding expert from Regent Estate? It wasn't just a taunt at Regent Estate, but making a hole in their defenses. What's more, Regent Estate remained passive. Or they wouldn't have had the time to come here. Just what kind of house was this Luo clan to drive fear even into Regent Estate? They may be shocked, but they were still as stubborn as a mule. Shui Qingjian laughed, glaring at Zhua. Little brother, I did say I will take you in, but I never mentioned anything about you having me. Quite right, only I can have this crone. Ha ha ha. Qiu Yanhai laughed without shame, earning a blush and a glare from Shui Qingjian. Zhuofan scratched his nose. That's fine as well. My forte is that I do not like to force people, though I may perhaps have a little loathsome fault. Whatever I set my eyes on, I must have it. And what I can't have, no one else can. Zhuofan made a sign before the two could react. The air filled with the couple's wails as Shui Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai's head bled out along with the accompanying excruciating pain. The spiritual beasts were startled and flew at Zhuofan. This brat is the real menace, hiding himself to such extent. Zhuofan wasn't the least bit afraid. You two better sit and behave or all you'll get is your master's corpses. Zhuofan made a hand sign and the couple spat blood. It then started pouring from every orifice of their head like a fountain. The spiritual beasts stopped in panic, freezing in uncertainty. But their pitiful eyes bore into Zhuofan, begging for mercy. Li Jingtian shook his head. With Zhuofan's mean streak, not even spiritual beasts could escape his grasp, least of all fellow humans brushing past those two poultry's begging gazes. Zhuofan walked to the couple and flashed his most dastardly grin he could muster. Seniors, why must you suffer so? As long as you agree to join the Luo clan. What did you do to us? Qiu Yanhai barked helpless. Zhuofan started explaining to them bloodworms' effect with a smile. You shouldn't take candy from a stranger, much less a pill. Ha ha ha. The demonic cackle sent a chill down to their very core. They, who roamed the land for decades without anyone standing in their way, were played by a snot-nosed brat. This is the last time I'm asking. Will you comply? Zhuofan said, death before dishonor. We will never submit. They both said in unison. Zhuofan sighed. I'm only asking you to be guarding elders in the Luo clan. There's no dishonor in it at all. But don't take my word for it, ask elderly. Steward Zhua is always courteous and respectful, Li Jingtian shouted, while cursing inside, with the occasional bouts of cruelty in between. He could recall as if yesterday, when he and Yen Song voiced their complaints, Zhuofan flew into a rage. It was only thanks to Luo Yunchang that the two managed to calm his anger just by kneeling. Who knew what he'd do to them otherwise? Li Jingtian felt an odd sense of kinship with the pair in this regard. Luo clan's elders were perhaps the most miserable elders in the whole wide world. One's life didn't rest solely at clan heads' whims, but more so at the steward's, and before you'd even begin to consider clan heads' whims, you'd first have to go with the steward's. You tell me, is that what you call an elder? Even Regent Estate is better than this steward. Chapter 212 Fire and Water Join the Fold. Chapter 212 Fire and Water Join the Fold. No way in hell are we going to submit. The two were very much thick in the head, shaking their heads at Juefan's every attempt to sway them. Then the smile faded from Juefan's face. Since you are unable to face reality, you'll only have yourself to blame for what happens next. Juefan spoke coldly, a mere sign for him had the two writhing on the ground in wails of pain. Their limbs contorted and cracking was heard each time a bone shifted. Blood pooled beneath them, but not from any visible wound. It was akin to twisting a towel to squeeze all the water out. This was one pain not even these two old veteran monsters could cope with. It stabbed their very core. Li Jingtian rejoiced inwardly. Thank heavens I switched sides so quickly. Who knows what untold suffering might have awaited me besides this one. This is inhumane. This time, he watched Juefan in fear. The two spirit animals panicked at their master's suffering. They once again flew at Juefan, but Li Jingtian jumped in defense, all while Juefan held an uncaring hand sign. A series of pops sounded as the couple's bodies went off like firecrackers as wounds opened all over them and setting them off into another round of even more heartrending wails. Juefan turned to the two poultries. Don't pets know how to obey? I told you to sit down and behave, or they won't get to live much longer. Their charge stopped, reduced to flying in circles from worry. They could neither withdraw nor retreat, forced to watch their masters in tears. If they could talk, they'd urge their masters to give in. One should know when he's beaten. But all they could do was cry out in sounds no human could decipher. Juefan shook his head. Your pets are worried sick. Why must you be so cruel to yourselves? He, punk, don't look down on us. We may have fallen in your trap, but there's no way you'll make us submit. Get it through your thick head. Qiu Yanhai cackled through the pain. Xue Qingjian showed a mournful smile. Ha ha ha, old fart, we've done whatever we wanted for so long, only to die at the hands of a child. We've lost all respect. My only joy is that I can die alongside you. As am I, ha ha ha. Qiu Yanhai nodded, determined to stare death right in the face. On the brink of death, these two could still show a smile of joy. Even Juefan was touched. These guys are the real deal, so goddamn stubborn. But the more they were like this, the more they tickled Juefan's fancy. Whenever hearts came to mind, Juefan was an expert at striking where it hurt the most. Didn't he turn Li Jingtian and Yen Song on his side the same way? The reason for the couple's tough character was love. This was both a strength and a weakness. Juefan deadpanned. I had a fairly short time to know you, but I can see how deep you love each other. Are you so set in watching the other die? Hee punk, how can a brat like you know what love is? Grinning, Qiu Yanhai looked deeply into Xue Qingjian's eyes with a gratified smile. As long as she is with me, I welcome death. Xue Qingjian nodded with a beautiful smile. Juefan let out a cruel smile. I don't know love, is it? Humph, then let me tell you of the love that I see. First of all, you, pointing at Qiu Yanhai, Juefan sneered. You fought with this old hag for all your life yet not won once? You both have the same cultivation, the same rare flame, but she used some cultivation to keep herself young. Of course she's the weaker one. How could you not beat her? It's clear as day you went soft on her each time. Qiu Yanhai only had a prideful smile in reply. Juefan turned to Xue Qingjian. And you, in this world, might make right, and you went and wasted some cultivation just on looks. The way I see it, you're clearly asking for death. It was fine if you were someone going out in public every day, but who will see you when you're hiding out in a mountain? Humph, of course I know you dolled yourself for your man. How could I not? But the way I see it, it was a complete waste. What, Qingjian, you stayed young just for me. Qiu Yanhai ignored Zhuofan's disdain, watching Xue Qingjian in gratitude. I need to look closer then. I must have been blind to not appreciate you all these decades. Xue Qingjian blushed and pouted. She took Zhuofan's critique as a compliment. Zhuofan didn't mind, since this was his aim. He wanted to spur their love to the highest possible point, only to smash it down to pieces. Humph, you must really think I'm singing you praises, right? Well, let me tell you, love is your greatest weakness. Bullshit. Our love is eternal. We live and die together, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Qiu Yanhai mocked. Oh really? Grinning, Zhuofan grabbed Xue Qingjian's fair neck. Qiu Yanhai shouted in fear. What are you doing? Take it up on me if you're a man and leave my woman out of it. Don't fall for it, old codger. If one dies, the other will soon follow. Nothing he'll do will make a difference. Xue Qingjian glared. Qiu Yanhai nodded and relaxed. Zhuofan, however, snorted. You think it's that easy to die in my hands? Fret not, I won't kill you, though I have the nagging feeling you're going to beg me for it later. A black energy came from Zhuofan and seeped into Xue Qingjian as he began using demon transformation art. Xue Qingjian's yuan qi was sucked away and her body started to age, her hair whitening, but that wasn't caused by demon transformation art, but from having the yuan qi reserved in keeping appearances stripped away. Ha ha ha, old hag, so this is how you really look. You can no longer keep up your youth. Why don't you let your old man get a nice long look at you now? Zhuofan laughed, twisting Xue Qingjian's head towards Qiu Yanhai. He also put a mirror in front of her to see her true face. Xue Qingjian shuddered at the aged, grizzled-hair old woman. She wailed. No, old codger, don't look. Ha ha ha, nice try, but your body is under my control. Shutting your eyes won't work. The old guy will now see how old and wrinkly you are. Zhuofan cackled. No, don't look, don't look. Xue Qingjian shook her head as tears flickered in her eyes. Qiu Yanhai consoled. Qingjian, don't worry. To me, you are the most beautiful. Zhuofan smiled and sighed. Women doll up for their men, and this is the men's attitude? Humph, why would any woman do it if not to attract men? Especially towards the one they love, the woman will want to look at their prettiest. Even if the man spoke of loving her wholly, she never wanted to let him see her ugly side. Zhuofan saw through it, so he raised their love higher, then made her return to her old and ugly appearance. He wasn't aiming at the old guy from the start, but the old hag instead. First came the bashing of the old hag's mental walls, and later came the defeat of the old guy. Zhuofan snickered, hopped on Xue Qingjian and mocked. He, sister, you don't much look like a sister now, do you? More like a granny if you ask me. Don't say it, please, Xue Qingjian cried as she covered her face. Qiu Yanhai cursed. Beast, stop this instant or you'll be sorry. Sorry? Ha ha ha, your lives are in my hands, yet you dare take that tone with me? Zhuofan snickered as his hand grabbed Xue Qingjian's sash. You old pair of farts, do you believe me when I say that I can make this old hag look even more unsightly? Though I have no interest in seeing, and let your old goat eyes feast on her alone. But I can't help but wonder, just how interested are you, old man, in this sister's fine body? Zhuofan punctuated by a light pulling no. Xue Qingjian cried, her eyes already rolling in her skull. Qiu Yanhai was tearing up, sobbing a plea. As Steward Zhuo, we submit. Please, just let her go. Don't shame us any more, I beg you. Qiu Yanhai, a mighty expert, was crying like a child, earning sympathy from any who would see him. Zhuofan turned to Xue Qingjian, to see the old hag nodding through her tears as well. Zhuofan switched to a cheerful smile on the spot. Was that so hard? You could have done this from the start and spare yourself the suffering. Please rise, elders. Oh, how can anyone be so cruel to you, elders? I have with me some healing pills. Kindly take them, elders. Zhuofan suddenly turned bipolar, as if his previous demonicum was a different personality. He helped the two up with the proper respect and gave them a vial. The old couple was scared witless. Seeing the vial, they suddenly broke out in shivers. They recoiled and shook their heads vehemently. They dreaded any more of Juefan's pills, but Juefan raised an eyebrow and snapped, "You dare refuse my pills?" Shuddering again, the couple creaked over, and took the pills under Juefan's watchful eye. Juefan beamed again. In this way, the Luo clan just got itself another pair of obedient elders witnessing everything. Li Jingtian's heart shook to the core. Steward Zhua is an abomination to make these powerful experts crumble from his cruel ways in a matter of minutes. He is as demonic as it gets. He was grateful to high heaven for changing sides as fast as he did. Or with Steward Zhua's cruel methods, who knew what boundless humiliation he would be showered with at that point, he'd have no reputation to speak of, ran thoroughly through the mud. Chapter 213 Deterrence. Chapter 213 Deterrence. After 6 hours, Qiu Yanhai and Xue Qingjian opened their eyes, having mostly healed their injuries. Xue Qingjian returned to her youth, to the beaming Juefan and Li Jingtian at the side. Now that the couple got up, Juefan came to them with a friendly laughter. "I guess congratulations are in order for your recovery. Now let us all return to the clan." Shivering inside, the two staggered backward in fear. Don't look at me like I'm the enemy here. We're all on the same side now, no?" Juefan shrugged and smiled at Xue Qingjian. "Sister, did you already forget how close we siblings are?" Swallowing dryly, Xue Qingjian scampered behind Qiu Yanhai, like a mouse afraid of the cat. But the eyes held an unmistakable hatred overshadowed by immense fear glaring at him. Xue Qingjian spat. "Who's your sister? I must have been blind to not see you've got the demon in you." True enough, since she took Juefan as a naive child who barely opened his eyes to the world. Who'd have thought this pup was in control of the famous Mad Dipper? He had no scruples and such vile schemes that had even this famed pair of monsters shiver in fear. How the hell was that a little brother? A demon from hell was more like it. Xue Qingjian was regretting having been swept by Juefan's sweet smile and sophistry. She was itching to gouge his eyes out and squash them. Juefan was becoming irritated. Qiu Yanhai saw his mood sink and urged, "Steward Zhua, please calm yourself. My old hag is raving. Don't mind her." "Never mind then, your lives are in my hands anyway. It's your choice if you want to get along with me. Now that you're Luo clan's elders, it's time we move." Juefan ignored them and unfolded his lightning wings as he took to the skies. Seeing the demon take flight, the pair breathed easier, yet looked close to breaking down in tears. They who lived free in a mountain, they who fended off even Regent Estate's threats, how was it they had fallen so low, in the hands of a twerp? They couldn't make one sense of it all. Li Jingtian walked to them and mocked. "Didn't you laugh at me saying I have no guts, old man? Well, where's yours?" Smiling dejectedly, Qiu Yanhai shook his head and sighed. "I was at fault before. I didn't expect you to be so powerful." "Ha ha ha, as long as you know," Li Jingtian said, "but I am a man of immense willpower, and not under complete control of the bloodworm. And the ones I ever followed never were ordinary. Try to look beyond Steward Zhua's young looks. He does everything with calm and precision. Fierce tactics are a powerful man's tools. You won't lose out by following him." The two nodded after a long time, "And since we'll be working together in the future, I'll let you in on the basics to survive in the Luo clan." Making sure Juefan was far enough, Li Jingtian whispered the couple had their ears peeled. "Please tell us, Brother Li." "Except for Steward Zhua, anyone in the Luo clan are good people to get close to, especially our young miss. She is a must to win over. Steward Zhua may be all about power play, looking down on all, but he is always devoted to the Luo clan. He will more often than not listen to young miss. So, if you ever get on his bad side, rush to the young miss and have her plead your case. That gets you off the punishment almost completely." Li Jingtian patted Qiu Yanhai's shoulder, while giving the two a serious look. The two were immensely grateful as they cupped their hands. "Thank you, Brother Li. It's nothing. We are all in the same boat, you can dispense the courtesy. Ha ha ha, Li Jingtian waved. Was he actually that caring? Of course not. The two were ignorant of the Luo clan's matters, but would figure it out easily in the first 3 days anyway. He reminded them earlier since this favor came cheap and saw no reason not to have them owe him one. Just when did I begin turning into such a vicious man? He sighed and suddenly scratched his head. Guess environment changes the man. At the gates of the imperial capital, Marshal Dugu was sitting astride his large horse and entering the city with his 5 godsons. The 1,000,000-strong army was stationed 10 miles out. The news of Dugu Zhantian's return, the second of the 4 pillars to the court, was soon on the lips of every citizen. Your Majesty, Marshal Dugu is seeking an audience. Enter. In the golden palace of the imperial capital, the emperor was sitting on a lavish throne. Next to him was the man he often played chess with, Mr. Sima Dugu Zhantian entered with large steps and bowed. Dugu Zhantian greets Your Majesty. May you have a long and prosperous life. Ha ha ha, Marshal Dugu has come from far away. You must be weary, please sit. With a chuckle, the emperor walked to Dugu Zhantian and helped him to a chair. Any man would feel immensely grateful and honored. But Dugu Zhantian found it a matter of fact. He was after all a pillar of the empire. Wouldn't a man like him receive at least this much from the emperor? Marshal Dugu, how is the situation in Wingay's city? Dugu Zhantian just took a seat and the emperor already started inquiring. Dugu Zhantian's side. The circumstances are poor, I'm afraid. I have rushed to the rescue per the imperial edict, but I was late. Wingay's city had been under a terrible battle, in which the Luo clan lost 100,000 men. Watching Dugu Zhantian speak in such a grave tone, the emperor's heart sank. Then he heard him mention Luo clan's losses, and spurted blood. Marshal Dugu, how can a third-rate clan like the Luo clan have 100,000 men? The emperor exclaimed, then cursed inside. Even me, who has rarely been outside the palace, knows it. How come you have no common sense? Marshal, did you see it yourself? No, actually. But when Luo clan's steward reported it, I also found it odd. That steward is Zhuo Fan. The emperor's face twitched. Of course it's him again. That brat is nothing but trouble. Speaking of so many casualties, as if it's the order of the day. Dugu Zhantian nodded. Your Majesty is wise. It is indeed Steward Zhuo who told me of Luo clan's casualties. I was also skeptical in trusting this man's careless talk. How can a small clan have so many people? Not even the 7 houses have so many. But Luo clan's losses were indeed great in that battle, with even their clan head falling victim. The emperor held his head and sighed. Marshal, Luo clan head is dead for almost 3 years now. What? Dugu Zhantian was shocked, then he went beet red. Damn those wretched brats, they played me. But that's not the issue here. The problem is they made a fool of me in front of the emperor. Zhuofan Yunhai, I will get you for this. Dugu Zhantian gnashed his teeth. The emperor shook his head, knowing he'd been had. Never mind then. Please tell me what you can about the Luo clan, Marshal. Dugu Zhantian was startled, then lowered his head in shame. From the moment he entered the Luo clan, all he'd heard about it was from Zhuofan's mouth, not getting the time to do his own investigation. And when it came to reporting, Zhuofan's words didn't look as truthful now. He realized he knew next to nothing about the Luo clan. Noticing his plight, the emperor didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why did you even go to Wingay's city for? Are you just as sloppy with your enemy's intelligence as well? Never mind then. The emperor sighed. Are the Luo clans Luo Yunhai and Luo Yunchang all right? They're completely fine. Dugu Zhantian spoke. Then what of Captain Pang Yi, their elder Lei Yuntian and his goddaughter Lei Yuding? Dugu Zhantian started answering all the questions the emperor had regarding the Luo clans higher up. In the end the emperor nodded. Since they are fine, the Luo clan suffered no losses. But this clan sure is capable. to still be standing despite the ever-watchful eyes of Regent Estate and Hell Valley. Your Majesty, outside Blackwind Mountain, where Luo clan is located, there are 4 5th-grade arrays placed by the clan head. A normal expert would find it hard to infiltrate. Dugujantien added. The Emperor raised an eyebrow, then sent a shocking glance to Mr. Sima. This Zhuofan kid is more and more impressive. I heard he could set arrays, but never imagined he could set 4 5th-grade ones. What, they were done by Zhuofan? Dugujantien cried out sighing. The Emperor only glanced at the old man. Just what have you been up to in Windgaze City? I asked you here to give me a report, but why is it me explaining things to you instead? The Emperor continued. The Luo clan lost everything, even their clan head 3 years ago, leaving only the siblings, Steward, and Captain Pang Yi behind. The current Luo clan has been brought about by Zhuofan. And it's this kid. The Emperor began recounting Zhuofan's acts of troublemaking through the empire. Once he finished with the mess he left in Drifting Flowers edifice, he added, "This kid is a rare talent, but a pity he's too volatile. He makes me like him and hate him all at the same time. Luo clan's problems are due to him. But it is also he who made the Luo clan stand tall. I just can't tell if this bizarre steward is a blessing or calamity for the Luo clan." Blinking, Dugujantien was speechless. He never took Zhuofan as an array master. As for all the stunts he pulled, Dugujantien couldn't care less. Hell, what soldier doesn't pull stunts? Skill is all that matters. I must have him in my camp. Dugujantien's mind was set. By the way, Marshal, is there anything else you'd like to report? The Emperor had no expectation at this point, but still asked. Dugujantien rushed to say, "Yes, it involves the Hell Valley and 2 other houses evidence of attacking the Luo clan. Please make a decision, Your Majesty. These 3 houses had tried going into Windgaze City while I was there." Dugujantien took the 3 jade slips out. The Emperor's eyes lit up and laughed. "With this evidence I'll finally take them down a notch. Did you see Regent Estate there as well?" Dugujantien shook his head. "Among the 7 houses House Lords group I saw in Windgaze City, none were from Regent Estate." "I see. That cousin of mine sure likes to hide all traces. He's sure to plan something insidious." Throwing away the 3 jade slips, the Emperor barked, "Humph, I will use these 3 houses as a testament to my power. Let all see who is the true ruler of these lands." Chapter 214 The Dreaded Divine Dragons. Chapter 214 The Dreaded Divine Dragons. Hell Valley was a place ever shrouded in thick and eerie mist. Today, however, was an exceptionally sunny day and cleared the view somewhat despite the warm glow of the sun promised joy. The Hell Valley's denizens' hearts were in a haze. In the meeting hall, Yuanshan sat in his chair with elders on either side. The empty seats among the rows of elders were a dead giveaway to their somber mood. They were grimly reminded of their losses. It had been 2 years since their wisest elder, Yugiki, was killed. In this time, the valley sent their best in getting revenge for such a heavy blow. The irony was, instead of the corpse of their most hated enemy, Zhuofan, being brought, even more losses were added to the pile. Putting aside their very first elder losses in Windgaze City, because of Zhuofan as well, after Yugiki fell, the head count slowly included 3rd elder, 4th elder, 6th elder. Even 5th elder didn't escape unscathed. Having his arm ripped out, Hell Valley was in a precarious situation, with half of their 12 elders gone and 1 crippled. All while Zhuofan was live and kicking. This was something hard to accept. It was utter humiliation. None foresaw they would take a blow as they did 3 centuries ago. Their 1,000-year-old legacy, their 7 houses' dignity was poked and taunted at every turn. Bam! Yuanshan slammed the table, and all could hear his grinding teeth. Everyone was filled with the same hatred, especially 5th elder. He touched his wounded shoulder as fire threatens to escape his eyes every time he cursed one name over and over in his mind, Zhuofan. But they were now stuck. They pushed the imperial family too far, and the latter summoned Marshal Dugu to drive fear into them. If they made one wrong move, they'd soon be seeing Dugu Zhantian's million army at their doorstep. And none could bear the brunt of such an aftermath. Here they were, all wishing to charge into Windgaze City, to wring Luo clan and Zhuofan of their blood, but none had the nerve to do it. Their very survival hanged in the balance. This was their conundrum. The Grand Elder looked around him and sighed. The atmosphere was stifling. I can't take it anymore. I have to put that bastard down for good. Fifth Elder was the one to break first. Eyes turned to him, but none replied, even though they all felt the same way. Anyone there knew the consequences of such an action. A sudden ripple brought with it the faint sound of a flute. God damn it! Who dares be cheerful at such a wretched time? I'll rip him apart. Fifth Elder was at a boil, and the music only helped to spur his anger further. But before he could go on the hunt, Grand Elder lifted his hand, fear shaking his very core. Wait, this is Divine Dragon Fong Qiubai's flute. Jade flute, divine sword. They were all started, with hearts in their throat. Even the enraged Fifth Elder slowly calmed down, his mouth hanging open from shock. Damn it all! What is that jade flute divine sword doing here? Fifth Elder turned to the rest. Yuanshan sighed, filled with bitterness. Humph! Why frickin' else? Isn't it the Emperor who stuck him onto us? Just why has the decades wretched imperial family up and grown a backbone all of a sudden? Yuanshan felt like crying, but he braced for the meeting as he signaled for the elders to follow him outside Hell Valley. At the entrance, the figure of the imposing and mighty divine dragons Fong Qiubai was playing a melodious tune on his flute. When the sound stopped out of the blue, Fong Qiubai fiddled with the flute in his hand as he spoke coldly. By order of the Emperor, Valley Lord Yu is to immediately attend court. Yuanshan was furious. The seven houses and imperial family were at an impasse, with both sides handling Tianyu's affairs. Even when an edict came before to Hell Valley, it had always been presented with respect and courtesy. It was clear that this time, the Emperor sent the divine dragon with his edict. He even played the flute outside their valley to draw them out. It was a show of strength. If they showed any fear, wouldn't the Emperor take an even harder stand when he saw him? No matter how sound his reason was, he still had to go. He wanted to have a long talk with the Emperor. Shielding Zhuofan had many implications. Was the Emperor setting himself the seven houses with this? Yuanshan was filled with sudden boldness. Mr. Fong has toiled coming here with the edict. Unfortunately, I have caught a cold and can only attend the court in a few months. Please show compassion. A damn cold? This load of bull can't get any more obvious than this. Can a peak profound heaven expert even catch a cold? You're clearly putting the Emperor on the spot. The elders gave Yuanshan a nod. That's our Valley Lord. He'd use this excuse to tell that old goat we are Hell Valley of the seven houses. We're not his dogs to order around. Boom! An explosion jarred the ears of everyone, even as they were in awe of their Valley Lord. It was then followed by a fierce wind that picked up the dust. Once the dust settled, everyone gasped. The mountain range on Hell Valley's side had vanished into thin air. In mid-air, Fong Qiubai put away the jade flute. You are to set out at once, Valley Lord Yu. The next second, he vanished, leaving the Hell Valley's elders and Yuanshan pale from fright. The disappearing mountain struck a chord in everyone. Is this divine dragon Fong Qiubai's power? It's too damn insane. He has the power to obliterate Hell Valley all by himself. Whoosh! Suddenly, an aged man in gray robe appeared. Yuanshan lit up at his coming. Venerable, you arrived. Do you? Of course I know. I only dared come after he left. The Venerable sighed. Valley Lord, we really did it this time. The Emperor may be a paper tiger, but his 5 divine dragons are savage beasts by themselves. I'm saying that you just go to court and apologize. The Emperor can no longer be offended. Yuanshan nodded, feeling forlorn and on the verge of tears. What's wrong with us, Hell Valley? Someone barged in and yet we have to apologize. A week later, Yuanshan was punctual in his arrival to the imperial capital. A palace maid took him to a waiting room to await the Emperor's summon. This never ever happened before. How was it that it suddenly turned to them waiting on the Emperor now? He was helpless. Just who died and put the Emperor in charge? He could only sigh. Following after the maid, and to add insult to injury, Yuanshan found two old friends in there already. Yen Bagong and Lin Ruffing. The two smiled wryly at Yuanshan's appearance. The three were like children in detention, sitting there outside the director's office, waiting for the Emperor's call. House Lord Lin, who came to Merry Woods? With nothing better to do, Yuanshan started chatting. Lin Ruffing shook his head and sighed. Monochrome chess sage, Sima Hui. Oh, the old guy plays chess all the time and cultivates his mind. His temper is the mildest among the 5 divine dragons. Jade Flute Divine soared Fong Chiobai up and flattened the mountains on one of Hell Valley's sides. Mild my ass. Lin Ruffing started ranting with a mournful look. That old geezer didn't say a word as he entered Merry Woods and hurled chess pieces. Do you have any idea what that's like? Every single strike was like a meteor impact. Doing it a few times had leveled half of Merry Woods. Now we only have half a millennia legacy. Then he pulled out the imperial decree, stating his hand slipped just then. So don't go telling me he's mild. Lin Ruffling felt sour and tearful. Yuanshan never thought there was anyone having it worse than Hell Valley. AI, you two lucked out compared to Pill King Hall. Yen Bagong sighed, as if all his energy left him. The ones you saw can still be called humans. While my envoy was downright savage. The entire Pill King Hall lays in ruins, with all our pills and ingredients picked clean. What? Eating all ingredients? The two cried out in shock, fear shining in their glassy eyes. Hall Lord Yen, you truly had it worse than any of us. For the Emperor to really let out that reckless little freak-out means he had reached the limit of his rage. Yen Bagong nodded, so painfully true. The three looked at each other and the room was filled with laments. Puzzling the hell out of the guards outside, weren't all 7 houses' lords filled with brashness and contempt each time they came to the imperial capital? Why was it that this time they were like lambs going to the gallows? All they heard from the tree were wails and sighs. Chapter 2:15 The Tiger Leaves the Mountain. Chapter 2:15 The Tiger Leaves the Mountain. House Lords, His Majesty is summoning you. After a 6-hour-long wait, a guard finally came to this remote room. The three sighed, as if going to their funeral, and followed the guard, without any dissent. Soon they came upon the palace's gates. The guard bowed and gestured for them to enter. With a deep breath, the three slipped into the hall. They saw the Emperor dignified on his throne, with Sima Hui next to him. At the end of the stairs, in front of the throne, stood the tall and mighty Marshal Dugu. The three swallowed dryly, feeling as if their hearts were in a vice when these men's gazes landed on them. Valley Lord Yu, Hall Lord Yen, House Lord Lin, greets your Majesty. They showed utmost respect to the Emperor. The Emperor nodded with a winning smile. House Lords, can you guess why I have summoned thee? They all shook their heads. Your Majesty, we do not. Bam! With a clang, 3 jade slips landed in front of them. The Emperor's tone dropped lower. Humph, so you don't know? Then do you at least know these jade slips? The three started sweating like pigs as they shivered. A nod. In that case, do tell me, why are you explicitly defying my edict, going into the area I deemed forbidden? Not even you, the 7 houses, founding fathers of the Empire, have such rights. The Emperor slapped the armrest of his throne, making the three slump into pleading on the ground in their knees. Spare us, your Majesty. This was unprecedented. The 7 houses, House Lords were, for the first time, on their knees before the Emperor. The Emperor raised an eyebrow, feeling freer than ever. As if returning to the time of his ascension to the throne, when all officials showed him utmost respect as a matter of fact, he was far more moved than before when has there ever been a case in the long history of Tianyu Empire of an emperor getting the 7 house lords kneeling before them? It may very be the very first time since this nation came together such honor lifted him above all other emperors before him. However, he couldn't let it show, or these 3 blokes would milk him for it. So the emperor kept a hardened and cold face, though his tone sounded softer. Thou are all ministers loyal to our nation. You are unlikely to resort to such disgraceful behavior without rhyme or reason. Please share with me your motives so I can judge if your actions were indeed unintentional mistakes. The 3's eyes lit up. Is the emperor giving us a way out? All that we've been doing is because of that Zhua Fan. As long as that fool dies, Luo clan and Wingay city are of no importance. But before they could explain, Dugu Zhantian barked, "Speak, who's behind you all?" Shivering, the 3 choked on their words. They peeked at the emperor, only to see him sporting the same cold and calm face that was tantamount to saying Dugu Zhantian was voicing the emperor's intentions. Since he couldn't outright say it, he had Dugu Zhantian play his proxy. The meaning was crystal clear. The emperor didn't care why they went to Wingay's city, only wanting to know by whose orders they marched. The emperor was aiming for Regent Estate, and they were the means to an end. Mere pawns. They instantly broke out in cold sweat. The emperor, a tiger cooped up in the palace all his life, was ready to go out and maul someone. But the problem was, Regent Estate wasn't an easy target either, a fierce tiger on its own. The 3 houses were now smack in the middle of the Regent Estate and the imperial family's power struggle. Their only fate, sacrifices. Curse it to high heavens! How did we end up in this mess? If only we hadn't listened to Regent Estate and attack Wingay's city. The imperial family would have no excuse to look for us. They now faced the heavy burden of choosing to let the emperor maul them or be used to maul the Regent Estate. But would the Regent Estate ever let them go afterward? Any choice promises death. The 3 were overwhelmed with regret. They bit their lips, unsure what to say. "Speak, who is behind you?" Dugu Zhantian barked and pressured them with his powerful soul. If it were any other occasion, the 3 peak profound heaven experts could have stood firm, since they were on the verge of advancing to the radiant stage. But now, however, they were frightened, their spirits shaken. And this show of force broke through their mental walls, making their clenched jaws relax. But then, a loud shout echoed, "Regent Estate Lord Huangpu Tianyuan and Prime Minister Zhuge Changfeng are requesting audience." Eyes widening, the emperor and the other 2 men were shocked for the estate lord to burst in at such a crucial time. His intention had to be premeditated. More importantly, why was he coming along with Zhuge Changfeng? This spelled trouble. The 3 house lords heard Huangpu Tianyuan was coming and retightened their jaws. Thank God Regent Estate was scared of getting involved in this, so they came to the rescue. We'd been done for otherwise. Yuanshan breathed in and calmed his heart. The emperor narrowed his eyes. Let them in. This damn tiger can no longer sit on his mountain. Sima Hui muttered. The emperor nodded with a grave expression. Estate Lord Huangpu Tianyuan, Prime Minister Zhuge Changfeng, Regent Estate's stewardling, and Regent Estate's High Venerable Huangpu Fenglei greets your majesty. 4 people entered the hall. Walking behind Huangpu Tianyuan and Zhuge Changfeng were 2 more. One of them was an old yet stout man that made even divine dragon Sima Hui's eyes tremble. What is Regent Estate's #1 expert, High Venerable Huangpu Fenglei, doing here? Sima Hui gasped, feeling the peak radiant stage power the old man was releasing. His cultivation was not one bit less than the 5 divine dragons. Huangpu Fenglei noticed Sima Hui as well, giving a smile in return, one with mockery and taunt. Oh my, house lords, the 7 houses have always been on the same footing as the imperial family. I know you all respect your majesty so, but there's no need for you to kneel. Others might grossly misunderstand and think his majesty intends to suppress the 7 houses, going against ancestors' rule and bringing him shame. Up, come now, you can't have His Majesty suffer such injustice." After bowing to the Emperor, Zhuge Changfeng went to help the three house lords with a smile. The Emperor clenched his fists and gnashed his teeth. The Emperor didn't allow them to rise, but Zhuge Changfeng dared help them out of his own initiative. His intentions couldn't be clearer. But since Zhuge Changfeng's reason was very sound, the Emperor could do nothing to vent his anger. This was how Zhuge Changfeng usurped the Emperor's prestige, while raising the three house lords by getting them to their feet. That was because they had the regent estate backing them, helping ease their fears at that moment. The Emperor group's pressure exerted on the house lords went up in smoke. Using the same excuse again would no longer work. "You're good, Zhuge Changfeng, I'll give you that." The Emperor cursed inside but didn't let it show. He turned to Huangpu Tianyuan laughing, "Cousin, you've been away from the imperial capital for decades. What could have brought you here today?" "Your Majesty, I have come to confess." Huangpu Tianyuan bowed. The Emperor's brow shook. "Despite not understanding," he added, "Cousin, I do not understand. Regent estate is kin to the imperial family and always proper, defending the caged dragon city in the imperial family's stead. What possible reason is there for you to confess? What crime?" "Your Majesty, your patronizing tone terrifies me so." Huangpu Tianyuan clenched his fists and said humbly, "The 7 houses have assisted the imperial family for 1,000 years and bring peace to Tianyu. But the 3 houses dared defy your decree, entering the area your Majesty deigned forbidden and causing the people to lament. I, Regent Estate, the head of the 7 houses, have failed in my duties and deserve to be punished." Crack! The Emperor's fingers let out a sudden sound, as his face only sank lower. Since the founding of the empire, the 7 houses and the imperial family had been at peace, but the duty of reigning in the 7 houses fell to the imperial family. But for Huangpu Tianyuan to dare utter such responsibility, he did no damn crime. He was overreaching in his power play to gain more status, but over the millennium, the regent estate had been the head of the 7 houses, a truth the Emperor could not refute. His only choice was to stew in anger. "Cousin, this is too much of a burden for you. How can I let you take the 3 houses' crime onto yourself?" The Emperor stated, "Yeah, Estate Lord Huangpu. Regent Estate may stand at the top of the 7 houses, and should indeed take responsibility for them. But since Lord wishes to take their crimes onto yourself, you'd be placing yourself in peril. Furthermore, the 3 houses' crime may not be as heavy for you to take it upon yourself." Zhuge Changfeng revealed a wicked grin as he eyed the Emperor, widening his eyes. The Emperor smiled coldly. "Is the Prime Minister implying that I am wrong? I wouldn't dream of it. Your Majesty is not wrong in the least. Just that this matter is so minor." Zhuge Changfeng's contempt was clear to all. The Emperor was enraged, on the verge of blowing a fuse. Chapter 216 Exploit. Chapter 216 Exploit. "So according to you, Zhuge Changfeng, openly defying an imperial edict is a trifle?" Dugu Zhantian spoke coldly with a booming voice. "If everyone does it, what would become of the imperial family's dignity?" Brushing away his outburst with a smile and a wave, Zhuge Changfeng shook his head. "Marshal, ease your anger. That is not what I meant at all. Defying the imperial edict has and always will be a serious crime. But in the case where the ruler is rash and tyrannical." "Say that again?" Dugu Zhantian barked. Zhuge Changfeng waved his hand with a dismissing smile. "Ha ha ha, Marshal need not be angry. I wasn't speaking of His Majesty. His Majesty is an upstanding ruler. Even more than that, right?" The Emperor's heart shivered. He and Sima Hui, both snorting inside the 3, were putting the squeeze on the 3 house lords just to avoid this particular mess. Only so they could hold one over the regent estate. But now, Zhuge Changfeng had breached this topic and the Emperor couldn't stay silent. The Emperor gave a curt nod for them to elaborate on the reason behind this mess. The 3 house lords straightened their backs and cupped their hands. Your Majesty, all that transpired is due to one man, Wingay City's Luo clan steward, Zhuofan. Yuan Shan then followed with painting Zhuofan in a gruesome way, and with flourishing detail the emperor simply sat there in his throne. He long knew of Zhuofan's adventures, so why tell him again? Yet despite knowing, the emperor let Zhuofan cause all the trouble he wanted, but now, all he wished was to avoid and bury this topic for good. Once Yuan Shan finished, Huangpu Tianyuan continued, Your Majesty, this vile spawn defies the 7 houses' dignity. I beseech your Majesty to lift the ban on Wingay City, and allow us to exact capital punishment on this wretched beast, to show the nation how upright your Majesty is. This time the emperor was in a real bind. Instead of having the 3 houses turn on Regent Estate, the latter got to strike against the Luo clan and ruin his plans. Tap tap. The emperor rapped his fingers on the armrest in deep thought. Due to the havoc the Hell Valley and Veiled Dragon Pavilion had inflicted on the people 3 years ago in Wingay City, I have elected to turn it into a forbidden ground. But I see that overlooking one man has caused endless suffering once again. My heart is in pain. They all knew where he was going with this, sporting large winning grins, and sure enough, the emperor continued with, I shall not look into your first offense, but you are not to step into Wingay City again. If you want to catch that beast, you will have to wait for him to come out. Your Majesty's heart is with the people. The Empire rejoices in having you. Huangpu Tianyuan's group cupped their hands in heartfelt admiration, but the sneer on their faces was plain to see. This hidden battle between Emperor and Regent Estate ended with the former's complete defeat. Not only did he not seize Regent Estate's weakness, with the 3 houses getting away scot-free, what was worse, he was unable to defend his chess piece, Wingay City, almost throwing it to the wolves. The Emperor's might faded, earning the ridicule of all. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yuan Shan bowed like the rest and then showed the same respect to Huangpu Tianyuan. Thank you, Estate Lord Huangpu. The emperor felt he was choking on something where neither choice of swallowing or spitting out was any good. He resolved to just stare at them with all the anger his eyes could muster. Huangpu Tianyuan simply ignored it and half bowed. Your Majesty, we are most grateful for your mercy. We shall take our leave. He didn't care if the emperor had other intentions, he simply turned around and left. It was a clear disregard of the emperor's position, and yet the emperor could only glare with hatred. Hold on! The people turned to see monochrome chess sage stomping over, with fire in his eyes, at High Venerable Huangpu Fenglei. It's been so long, Sir Huangpu. Would you care for a game of chess? Not letting the other respond, Sima Hui directly launched a chess piece at Huangpu Fenglei. A great power suddenly pressed on everyone's shoulders. The House Lords were all peak profound heaven experts, but just this meager chess piece had them all feel as if a mountain was bearing down on them. They couldn't even step back, blood draining from their faces. Divine Dragon Sima Hui's attack was terrifying. Yet Huangpu Fenglei simply stepped before them without fear. He extended 2 fingers and caught the piece as if it was nothing, dispelling the pressure with his gesture. Squinting, Sima Hui didn't expect for Huangpu Fenglei to be so strong as to take his attack so easily. With a grin, Huangpu Fenglei spoke, Mr. Sima's chess skill is exquisite. How could a martial artist such as I compare with a chess sage such as you? I would only disgrace you by playing. Huangpu Fenglei then flicked the chess piece back. A pressure far greater than before came down on Sima Hui, and the Emperor Sima Hui took a rushed step forward to protect the Emperor and was going to use 2 fingers as well. But the power was too great and forced him to take a step back. Looking aghast at Huangpu Fenglei, Sima Hui said, After not seeing each other for so many decades, Mr. Huangpu's power has greatly increased. I'm afraid I may no longer be your match. You're too kind, Mr. Sima is far more talented than I. Only Mr. Sima indulges in chess while I merely work hard in my training. With a mocking laughter, Huangpu Fenglei gave Huangpu Qingyun's group a look. They all joined his laughter as they left this great symbol of imperial power that was the palace. Sima Hui's brow had faint sweat watching them go. He looked down to see how deep an imprint his foot left when he withdrew. Huang Pu Fenglei's power was dreadful to force a divine dragon to leave such a mark on the floor. Bam! The emperor shot to his feet and knocked over a candle stand as he cursed. These traitorous mongrels have gone too far. They come to my palace, asking for my obedience? Calm down, your majesty, Sima Hui advised. With Zhuge Changfeng here, our reasons are moot in front of a man with his oratory skills. That is why I tried going after Huang Pu Fenglei to make them cower. But who'd have thought Huang Pu Fenglei's power trumps mine, further diminishing your prestige? It was my miscalculation. Please forgive me, your majesty. The emperor didn't speak, his eyes shining with a dark look. Zhuge Zhantian smoothened his beard and sighed. This plan was to use the three houses and strike a blow at Regent Estate's arrogance. Or at least drive a wedge between them. But now Regent Estate came to their rescue, further making them stand with the Regent Estate. All our hard work was exploited by Regent Estate. Now that the Regent Estate is together with three houses, they will be even harder to deal with. Sima Hui nodded, while the emperor was pacing in deep thought. Then the emperor's eyes shined. Mr. Sima, isn't the esoteric debate around the corner? Indeed, your majesty. It shall take place in 5 years. Sima Hui nodded, then started, Your majesty, you don't mean. Smiling, the emperor nodded. Hasn't the Regent Estate flaunted being the head of the 7 houses since he always took first place in the esoteric debate? If he comes short in any way this time, their dignity would take a heavy blow. And the seed of doubt would be planted in the other houses, that its power had declined. But Regent Estates every generation has been filled with geniuses. Especially this one, with even some freaks mixed among them. The other houses have their own fair share of talents, but none can compare. There's even rumors that one among them can break the shackles of Radiant Stage, becoming the peak of power in Tianyu. Just what junior could have such potential? Sima Hui's brow was locked, to which the emperor snorted, Speaking of freaks, is there any little freak more rampant than that guy? Your majesty, you mean Zhuofan? Sima Hui and Zhuge Zhantian spoke in unison. The emperor nodded with a sneaky smile. It's time for that brat and the Luo clan to pay back for sheltering them. They need to just cut the Regent Estate down a peg at the esoteric debate, and I will declare the Luo clan as the 8th noble house to keep Regent Estate in line. Sima Hui and Zhuge Zhantian were speechless. Zhuofan had shocked them again and again, but the Luo clan's foundation was thin. This 8th house would find it hard to stay afloat when it was even weaker than Drifting Flower's edifice, threatened to be swallowed by the other house. Yet the emperor was hoping to use it to counter Regent Estate. None of them knew that Zhuofan had already made preparation to strengthen the foundation of this flimsy clan. In another place, Zhuge Changfeng's group left the palace with scorn on their faces. Especially the 3 house lords, who were pushed into a corner by the emperor, were now wild with joy, and just like the emperor, they were in complete awe of the Regent Estate and Huang Pu Fenglei. Holy moly! How many are there that can push back a divine dragon? Zhuge Changfeng, thank you for making all of this happen. Huang Pu Tianyuan cupped his hands. Zhuge Changfeng smiled and spoke in the same cold tone. Ha ha ha, there's no need to thank me. Wasn't it all planned by your steward, Leng Wuchang? Zhuge Changfeng then left with a smile. The Yin and Yang elders caught up to him, having kept their distance so far. Yuanshan didn't quite understand, but Leng Wuchang's face changed, turning to Huang Pu Tianyuan. Correct, all was planned by Leng Wuchang, including the 3 house lords' detainment by the emperor. It was all done so he could save the 3 houses at the best moment, and become more reliant on the Regent Estate. What was once a scheme privy to only he and Huang Pu Tianyuan, it was seen through by Zhuge Changfeng in an instant. Watching Zhuge Changfeng's shrinking figure, Leng Wuchang and Huang Pu Tianyuan felt an odd chill. No wonder Zhuge Changfeng was the head of the 4 pillars, he was frightening. Zhuge Changfeng himself was sporting a mystifying smile. Prime Minister must be glad. The white-haired elder smiled. Zhuge Changfeng nodded. I just saw a bunch of fools getting happy having scored an empty victory. But, ha ha ha. The elders were puzzled. Zhuge Changfeng was quite vague. But Yuan has ruled these lands for 1,000 years for a reason. To not even see through a chess player's unfathomable skill. He still dares to play with cloak and dagger? So this is the extent of unwanted contriver, ha ha ha. Chapter 217 The Suicidal Life and Death Art. Chapter 217 The Suicidal Life and Death Art. 4 figures fell on Blackwind Mountain. Zhuofan and his 3 elders Qiu Yanhai and Xue Qingjian watched in awe the impressive sight formed by the mighty 4 fifth-grade arrays. Luo clan is outstanding to this extent that it's no wonder its steward is so cunning and able. But how come we never heard of it? The two looked at each other puzzled. Zhuofan knew all too well what dwelled on their mind, but didn't dispel their doubts, only made a path through the arrays with a sign. He took the lead and the others rushed to follow. Once back in the clan, Zhuofan called for a general meeting to introduce their newest elders. The 2 elders were presented with the sight of people no stronger than ants. Knowing they could kill these people with their thumb, it instilled a deep sense of disappointment in the old couple, though after having received Zhuofan's cruelty, it curbed their characters so as to not let it show. Only when Zhuofan introduced Luo Yunchang did their eyes shine. Recalling Li Jingtian's words, they showed utmost respect for Luo Yunchang. Xue Qingjian even held her shoulder. Young miss, you are the picture of beauty, like an angel from above. I can't help but rue the day a rotten punk would have you for himself, oh ho ho ho. Luo Yunchang blushed and shook her head, but her heart was grateful as she sneaked a peek at Zhuofan. She also found the 2 elders quite likable. They were radiant stage experts, yet so calm and mild, unlike the arrogant stereotype everyone knew. Though clueless, this was all brought about by Zhuofan's thorough and unyielding discipline. The man in question was right now frowning. Why are these 2 who always snapped back with how great they are in Tianyu suddenly fawning? And why at Luo Yunchang? Turning to Li Jingtian, he caught the latter looking elsewhere entirely. This has nothing to do with me. Now that introductions are out of the way, the others may return to their tasks. Zhuofan's clap left only Luo Yunchang and the 4 elders behind. He turned to the couple. You 2 will be watching over the Black Flame Array in the south and the Ice Shadows Array in the north. I will later tell you how to wield them. Working alongside Elder Yen and Elder Li's arrays, the Luo clan will never know defeat. Understood. Qiu Yanhai and Xue Qingjian cupped their hands. Luo Yunchang was overjoyed knowing the 4 experts would turn the mountain into an impenetrable fortress. Not even a 7 houses siege could make her worry now. Also, Zhuofan's hand flashed and offered a jade slip. As you are now Luo clan's elders, I shall treat you as one of us. Here is the secret life and death art. I find it quite suitable to you too. Qiu Yanhai took the jade slip, amazed by what it contained. Knowing what they were gonna say, Zhuofan smiled. This is no cultivation method or martial art, but a way to combine your strengths. A limitless improving method. What? Brushing off their shock, Zhuofan continued. This life and death art means treading the fine line between life and death on the edge of a knife. At the collision between 2 opposing forces, world-destroying power lies. But once control over it slips, death becomes you. This leads to this art going by a more common name, the suicidal secret art. What are you doing giving it to them for? That's too dangerous. Luo Yunchang spoke in their defense. The couple was almost moved to tears. Li Jingtian didn't lie. Getting close to the young miss is a must if we want to live. But Zhuofan shook his head. Young miss needn't fret. If others trained in this art, they'd have a fate worse than death. But I saw how the 2 elders' fire and water arts combine, how seamless they work together. They are able to conform to the other on the fly, understanding each other's hearts. In fact, they may understand the other even better than they do themselves. The two's attributes may be in conflict, but they are nevertheless able to control the clashing force between fire and water. There's a 50% chance they'll succeed. 50? The couple was nervous, and Luo Yunchang jumped in fright. That's too little. Zhuofan shook his head. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The greater the danger, the bigger the return. I'm sure you two know this fully well. After all, you fought Tianyu's experts off decades ago. I can also guarantee this method has infinite growth. The greater your control, the more powerful you become. You can one day reach the point when you can face all 5 divine dragons together. Widened eyes and gasps of shock were heard all around. Imperial family's divine dragons were the strongest in Tianyu. Not even if their cultivation matched could they defeat one, least of all 5 these were not false promises, as Zhuofan never was one for empty talk. Li Jingtian snapped his excited eyes on the jade slip. His martial fanatic side rearing its head. What if, suppose, I train it? Elderly, this was given to us by Steward Zhuo. So don't go against his decision. Qiu Yanhai guarded the jade slip, watching Li Jingtian as if he was an archenemy to the couple. The two loved each other, but having been in the martial world for so long, the promise of power could hardly be denied. Hearing the return of the life and death art being so gargantuan, they'd take it even if it was just a third chance of success. How could they have ever reached the 5th layer of Radiant Stage if they didn't have this bit of boldness? Though Li Jingtian's eyes never faltered from the jade slip, Zhuofan dismissed his fervent greed. Elderly, it's not for you. I'll be blunt. Train it and die. What nonsense is that? With my talent, my aptitude, my power, I am better than them in everything. Li Jingtian rebuked. Zhuofan shrugged, and turned to the two. The couple was now eagerly combing through the information in the jade slip. 15 minutes later, they looked dumbfounded, sporting an extra red face. Li Jingtian was startled and impatient. Well, spit it out, is the art so intricate not even you two can unravel? Give it here, let this old man have a look. Beat it. It won't do you any good even if you do look. Shui Qingjian glared at him. Qiu Yanhai lowered his head in embarrassment. Steward Zhuo, just where did you pick a dual cultivation art? You're putting us on the spot. Dual cultivation art. Li Jingtian's eyes bugged out as he stammered. Zhuofan cracked up. Ha. Life and death art needs 2 people that are closer to each other than their relatives, yet of opposite cultivation methods. Only this can bring out its power. If your feelings are true, they will be conveyed and fruit will blossom. If all you have is lust, death follows. Elderly, you and me are lone wolves, it doesn't suit us. Li Jingtian only smirked. The couple felt quite shy at this point, then blushed harder as they looked at each other. Steward Zhuo, we also can't cultivate it. Qiu Yanhai twiddled his thumbs. Me and Qingjian never actually done that. Raising an eyebrow, Zhuofan asked, You've never done it for decades yet are so in tune with each other? Then what are you waiting for? Luo Yunchang clapped. It's been ages since we had a wedding in the Luo clan. Please let me arrange it all for the elders on a most auspicious day. The couple's faces went redder, acting like shy teenagers. Zhuofan's eyes widened and shouted, What auspicious, what arrangement? That's so quaint and cliché. Just get it on already and train that art. Blast it, 4 decades you've been around a bell, yet never tapped that fine booty. Shame on you. She even dolled up for decades for you in vain. So get your ass in gear already. Bam! Zhuofan kicked Qiu Yanhai's ass, but the old geezer wasn't the least bit angry. He took Shui Qingjian's hand and left giggling. Qingjian, it's Steward Zhuo's order. I don't have a choice. For the sake of the clan, we must bear through this hardship. Ha. Pervert. Shui Qingjian rolled her eyes, yet left with her blushing head lowered. Luo Yunchang watched the loving couple in envy. She turned to Zhuofan with a pout. You say that, but you are no different. Zhuofan looked at her, obliviously. Jingtian laughed. Steward Zhuo, you shouldn't waste. Zhuofan's eyes snapped to him before he finished. scaring him from continuing. So you do understand. Young miss, I did my best to help you up to here. Li Jingtian started looking elsewhere. All of a sudden, Yen Song started flattering Zhuofan. Steward Zhua, please give me an art too. Didn't I give you refining skills? Zhuofan asked. Yen Song scratched his head. Ha ha ha, now that you mention it. But I'm a cultivator first, before an alchemist, one with dreams of greatness. Fine, I understand perfectly. Zhuofan offered a jade slip. I am not too fond of poisons, but since you're with me, I will be sure to give you what you deserve. This here is a high profound ranked martial art, 9/9's fantasy palm. It also contains the formula for making the world's 81 strangest poisons. Beside the myriad of palm attacks, it also wields 81 poisons, each with 81 variations. Each change conforms to any man, to any environment, ever evolving. In short, the poison's only cure is if you remove it yourself. It is thus named Lord over Life and Death. Take it and go. Yen Song took the jade slip with trembling hands and fervent gaze. This is leagues above the rainbow cloud palm. It's incomparable. Steward Zhua, you are so amazing and grand. I knew I made the right choice following you. Cut the flattery, just make sure to give your all in your tasks. Zhuofan waved him off. Li Jingtian stroked his chin. What is up with today? Steward Zhua is handing treasures left and right. Forget the odd couple. He's even given Yen Song something after just one word of pleading. Should I also get my game on and act as cute as possible to squeeze Steward Zhua of some goodies? But he shook his head in the end. He knew very well when to stop. It was better to do it after he trained Wraithart to peak first. But then, a sudden shout came from outside Blackwind Mountain. Brother, I came to visit. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow and shook his head after knowing who it was. Chapter 218, Acting Bestowed Elder. Chapter 218, Acting Bestowed Elder. Zhuofan ended the meeting with a shake of his hand, sending the elders into obscurity. He had no intention of showing the world Luo clan's experts. He turned to Luo Yunchang with a smile. Young miss, I would like you to kindly welcome our honored guest. Luo Yunchang had no idea who dropped by, but since Zhuofan wished her to go, she would gladly do it. And of course, since she was a young miss, she had a role to play. Her dainty hand raised, Luo Yunchang softly spoke. Steward Zhua, please help me to our guest. He rolled his eyes. She's no disabled 70-year-old hag, what help? Nevertheless, towards this silly request, Zhuofan didn't flare out, as to not receive this pampered Miss tongue lashing. So he took her outstretched arm. It would never ever cross the past Zhuofan's mind to do such a thing. But now, Zhuofan found the rough edges of his character had smoothed over, somewhat. Particularly in the case of young miss, where he caved quite easily. God damn it! How can I still be a demonic emperor? Zhuofan cursed but wasn't that angry, quite happy in fact. As if enjoying the moment, Luo Yunchang stole a glance at the forced Zhuofan and giggled a sweet laughter. The two thus descended, past the arrays and off the mountain. What greeted them was another mountain, more aptly put, a mountain of a man. Luo Yunchang and Zhuofan's eyes widened not from being impressed by the newcomer's imposing manner, but from recognition. In fact, he was Zhuofan's brother, who he liked a lot. They were speechless because, how can any human get so fat? Yes siree, the man before them was the third prince of the empire, his sworn brother Yuan Kong. The man looked like a veritable wall blocking the view of the two, hoisted on two thick and trembling legs. Today was sunny and warm, but Yuan Song's head was soaked in sweat, and kept on sweating buckets. Brother, you finally came. I almost couldn't take it, Yuan Song gasped, wiping his head again and again with a handkerchief, only to be dripping wet the next second. The servant rushed to replace it. On his right was another familiar face to Zhuofan, Jade Flute Divine Sword, Feng Qiubai. Having long given up on this bloke of a disciple, Fang Qiubai was watching the 4 fifth-grade arrays in shock and awe. The two were leading 20 yellow-dressed elders. Their chests stuck out, their manners filled with power. They looked like no servants of the third prince, more like guards. Zhuofan found his face twitching seeing the sweat-soaked Yuan Song inside. Oh please. It's your fault for running all the way here, fatty. Can you blame me? I wouldn't have gone all out if it weren't for Imperial Father's edict. The fatty sighed and started fanning himself with his hand. Hurry and take me up the mountain. It's too hot here. Right then, around 10 people came around him to lift him up after a strenuous effort, taking one toiling step after another, and each step left behind a deep mark. These servants weren't experts, just in the qi condensation stage. But seeing how even they were having the worst time of their lives carrying the fatty, Zhuofan muttered, "Fatty, you're goddamn fatter. Don't say it. Imperial Father is in a bad mood. Every time that happens, he takes it out on me and leaves me suffering. I was too stressed to even eat or drink, yet the next thing I know I'm up to 400 kilograms in weight. Oh, the horror!" He sighed each time he slapped his belly. This act of his made the men below him stagger. Their bent backs were creaking. Luo Yunchang couldn't bear to look a second more. Zhuofan was speechless. You don't eat from stress yet still gain so much weight? How damn fat will you be then if you're in a perky mood? How much will you eat? You're a true marvel. Zhuofan shook his head and sighed. The fatty snickered, "Thank you, but you're just the same. We brothers are the marvels of the world." Zhuofan's mood sank. "Are you showing off or making yourself look goddamn better than me?" So Zhuofan switched targets to Fang Qiubai. "Mr. Fang, it's been a long time. Do you perhaps not care what becomes of this fatty?" "Not in the least." With a lazy wave, Fang Qiubai smiled. "A noble man has noble qualities." Zhuofan rolled his eyes. "I was wondering what made this fatty so feisty without caring about consequences. It's all because his master encourages it. Truly, if the base is crooked, the top is out of whack. By the way, Zhuofan, you've been stirring quite the storm lately, throwing the whole Tianyu in chaos." Fang Qiubai eyed him. "But that's understandable. You can't survive without going out of line. There may have not been a Luo clan today if it weren't for you monkeying around." Raising an eyebrow, Zhuofan took a long look at him, feeling his words held another meaning, but instead of continuing, he laughed. "Let's talk it out inside." Then he started flying up Blackwind Mountain. Finding the fatty way too slow, Fang Qiubai lifted him along with a wave. The servants found themselves lighter and fell on the ground in bliss. They cursed, "Carrying that damn tub of lard will get us killed." As for the elders in yellow, they followed as well. Zhuofan and Luo Yunchang took the weary servants too. The servants finally had the leisure to not mind the wait at the peak of Blackwind Mountain. The fatty was working his damnedest in wiping the sweat off himself under a pavilion. Fang Qiubai was at the side, with poise and grace. Seeing Zhuofan coming up with the servants, the fatty beckoned, "Hurry up and fan me." The servants shook their heads and started working hard at the fatty's side. Now the fatty was finally feeling like himself, letting the occasional cry of appreciation. Zhuofan shook his head. This fatty wasn't like this 3 years ago. Why is he so sleazy all of a sudden? What had him truly baffled, however, why aren't the old guys joining in with the servants? Zhuofan pointed. "Fatty, aren't they yours as well? Why are they standing around idle? How could they be? Do you know what their cultivation is?" The fatty eyes widened. Zhuofan blinked. "Profound heaven." "Yes, profound heaven expert. How could I have them do such a thing? It will be too humiliating for them." The fatty spoke upright. Zhuofan thought so as well. He recalls how he would often insult the radiant stage experts when he beckons them, but never asks them to pour tea for him. It was simply overkill. He found no point in respecting anyone whose talents were of no use. Am I not one to respect talents and make use of their abilities fully? Ha ha ha, probably not. Since he always saw others with a cynical eye and never showed any respect. Anyways, who in the mortal domain was worthy of the demonic emperor's respect? Zhuofan shook his head. With different statuses there are different attitudes. Just then, Fatty struggled to walk to him and smiled. Brother, to be honest, these profound heaven experts aren't mine, but yours. Mine? No, that's not right either. You're just Luo clan's steward. How can they be yours? I mean to say that they are elders who my imperial father offered to the Luo clan. Your clan just got a gift falling into your lap and its rise is just around the corner. Well, are you happy? Hee, the Fatty laughed at Zhuofan's dumbstruck face. Luo Yunchang's eyes shined in glee. They will all be Luo clans. Before she could properly enjoy this gift of 20 profound heaven elders, Zhuofan spoke dully. Fatty, even if the Emperor bestows us these profound heaven elders, we will first have to see if they are fit for the Luo clan. The Fatty was totally clueless what he was getting at. Luo clan, a third-rate clan, had a sudden windfall of 20 profound heaven experts, and they should be wild with joy. Even a first-rate clan would be dancing around and thank the Emperor by now, so why was this Zhuofan so cold, even trying to reject them? If he only knew Zhuofan had 3 radiant stage experts in the bag, he'd probably take the 20 elders back that instant. Damn, how mortifying. We have radiant stage experts, so of course we'd outright refuse some profound heaven experts. Not to mention they are. Fang Qiubai eyed Zhuofan with a deep gaze. Zhuofan walked before the elders and sized them up. He found they were quite strong, but nothing outstanding, while also detecting a great deal of pride, the kind that hinted at, if I am second, no one dares say they're first. Zhuofan frowned. What's there to be cocky about when you're not even in the radiant stage? Pacing around, he spoke. As of now, you are Luo clan's elders. I am the steward, Zhuofan. You are to listen to every one of my instructions. Besides, young miss. Humph, a puny steward minds me? Luo clan sure is an oddity. One of them complained before Zhuofan finished. Zhuofan's face went cold in a flash. Luo Yunchang shrugged and turned her head, not in the least interested in their fates. There was no cocky elder in the Luo clan, not one. That was because this place housed an even more outrageously conceited steward. You could offend anyone in the Luo clan, but may God help you if you stepped on the steward's toes. Humph, your funeral. You're on your own now. Zhuofan's power goes unchallenged here. They were oblivious to this iron rule, but they'd do it anyway even if they knew, since they came by the grand order of the Emperor. Though they were most certainly gambling with their lives at this point. Chapter 219, How is that a rule? Chapter 219, How is that a rule? Who said that? Step forward. Zhuofan roamed the group with a critical eye. A thin elder moved, sneering at Zhuofan. Humph, you snot-nosed brat. Pa. Zhuofan instantly cuffed the man, making him stumble. That's Steward Zhuo for you. Why you? The elder was dumbstruck, too angry to even speak clearly. Forget about him being a profound heaven expert, just based on his age alone. Receiving a slap from a brat was a downright disgrace. The blood rushed to his head and charged Zhuofan. You damn punk, you think you're great? I will teach you a lesson for daring to raise your hand against an imperial guard. But then he groaned and went bug-eyed. His breathing grew fainter and his head, forever lowered his chest, was now sporting an extra fist hole through his chest. Zhuofan glanced at his dripping bloody hand, painting a marvelous work of art. SSS. Gasping, the other elders watched Zhuofan in shock. How was this fifth layer of bone-tempering kid able to kill one of them so easily? Luo Yunchang yelped and covered her eyes. The fatty's face twitched and said, Brother, I knew you were awesome, but these were bestowed to you. You can't just kill them. Fang Qiubai's eyes trembled, watching Zhuofan with an even more curious gaze. This divine dragon had heard rumors aplenty regarding Zhuofan, but seeing was believing with Zhuofan's mere cultivation. The feats he pulled against others higher than him left people shocked. Juefan frowned and ignored the others' unusual gazes as suspicion grew in his mind. This geezer is clearly in the profound heaven stage, yet his speed and power are lackluster. He was planning on making an example out of this one for the rest of them, by leaving him a heavy wound. But it ended with him getting killed instead. It's as if he's squinting. Juefan's eyes shined faintly azure, releasing a short-range soul scan to scour these acting elders while hiding from Jade Flute Divine Sword's notice. Sure enough, these guys were all posing as profound heaven experts, while their power was far below the threshold. Just like Huangpu Qingyun's four porters in Drifting Flower City. If you'd must define these guys' power, that'd make them fake profound heaven experts, but this fake stage was only privy to a radiant stage expert, while all others couldn't tell the difference. In a nutshell, they're goddamn props. Sighing, Juefan barked, "Fatty, you tricked me. These are no profound heaven experts. You brought me fakes. Just take them away already." Fatty cried, "You know, cut the act. I am not blind enough to not see a real profound heaven expert from a fake." Juefan glared, "Are you looking to see me lose out when I'll be facing other houses with these fake profound heaven experts that are no more than some bone-tempering pups?" The fatty scratched his nose in embarrassment. It's just so you can look the part. When others see these 20 men, they will be intimidated. Spare me the nonsense and give it to me straight. Where did you get these weirdos?" The fatty scratched his face in silence. Fong Qiubai chuckled. "Let me explain it. Their talents were meager, Imperial guards with slim chances to even enter the profound heaven stage. They couldn't even take 2 hits from a real profound heaven expert even if they did enter it. So the Imperial family had a project to raise many of such people into profound heaven experts through pills. But it failed. They have the air of a profound heaven expert but not the power to back it up, but as Tsonger said, even these props have use. 2 decades ago, Chuanrong was about to invade Tianyu. His Majesty was scared of war, losing his subjects and wealth, and pushed tens of thousands of fake, profound heaven experts to the front lines, scaring away the Chuanrong. Ha ha ha, you have to admire His Majesty's wisdom. Face twitching, Juefan watched speechless. No wonder he's the weakest in the Empire's 1,000-long history. He doesn't do anything, he just poses. Though he had to admit mixing lies with truth was an ingenious tactic. But it has no damn use in a war between houses. Juefan threw the fake experts a look, then sighed, "Fatty, when you give something, make sure it has some use, alright? Even 10 real profound heaven experts would do." "What, 10? We got none." Crying out, the fatty persuaded like a cheapskate, "Bro, real profound heaven experts are the creme de la creme in any clan. How can they be raised so easily? Veiled Dragon Pavilion has 9, and of Hell Valley's 12, you killed 6. Our Imperial family is also short on them. Imperial father can't dispense any." Juefan shrugged. "Then if he wants to bestow something, let him give something real. These fakers are not only cocky, they even start posing in my face. Take them back." That's unlikely. How can we go against an Imperial edict? If you really do this, I cannot bear the responsibility. Imperial father won't budge either. Also," Fatty turned to those fake elders and shouted, "Also you. If you go back, your heads will fall." They instantly fell to their knees, pleading, but Juefan shook his head still, finding it hard to accept. They have no skills. With you here, of course they'll beg, but once you leave, they will return to their haughty attitude. "I see, brother. Don't worry, leave it to me." The fatty cursed at them. "You bunch of good-for-nothing bastards, you have been bestowed to the Luo clan as elders and must follow its rules to a fault, especially steward's orders. Also, who are you to say no? You're just a bunch of fakers. Let me tell you, this brother of mine, Steward Juefan, has fought Hell Valley, kicked around Drifting Flowers edifice, punching and smashing any and all from the 7 houses. The number of profound heaven elders from the 7 houses under his belt exceeds 10. You must be wondering, how is he still alive? Power. If you had his power, of course you'd defy him. If you don't, then you better goddamn listen or just drop dead. The fatties' pep talk did the trick, and the fakes watched Zhuofan in shock. Not once did they think this brat was such a monster, to openly defy the 7 houses. No wonder he acted so high and mighty with them, even daring to kill one bestowed by the emperor. The Luo clan's steward being powerful seemed valid. They'd always lived in the palace and knew nothing of Zhuofan's exploits. So they instantly prostrated half into Fatty's howling speech. Of course, they were nothing compared with such a man of power. What right they had to still act tough? Luo Yunchang was overwhelmed with emotion, but mostly watched Zhuofan enjoy. What do you think, brother? They'll listen now. Cough, cough. Ignoring the smiling Fatty, Zhuofan faked a cough and stuck out his chest as he spoke to the fakes. As you've been bestowed by His Majesty, and seeing how important it is to Third Prince, I will accept, albeit reluctantly, such fake profound heaven experts. The Fatty was over the moon, as were the rest. Their mission was now complete, and were exempt from the Emperor's punishment. However, Zhuofan's tone turned heavy. You are to abide by Luo clan's rules if you are to stay. First, the most important of all, only me, Steward Zhuofan, is allowed to show off. Whoever dares to show off before me will find their life cut short. They all turned dumbfounded. How is that a rule? The Fatty's face darkened and twitched. Young Miss Luo, does the Luo clan really have such a shameless rule? Luo Yunchang bobbed her head and held her mouth, yet her stomach hurt from how hard it was to stop from laughing. The Fatty was speechless. Second, when you are outside the clan, I am the first and foremost who show off, and when it's your turn to do it, it must by all means be a cut below mine. Failure to comply means death. They all held their foreheads. So this is the Luo clan? Is this how its steward acts? It's just so hard to fathom. Are these what you call rules? Luo Yunchang was laughing so hard she laid on the table. The Fatty patted his fat cheeks helpless, and Fong Qiubai watched it all engrossed. Third, Zhuofan continued, you are to obey my every order without question. When I say you kill, you comply. Otherwise, death. They shivered when he reached this point and nodded. They may have submitted, but Zhuofan could see the doubt in their eyes. To someone like Zhuofan, it was this doubt that spoke of the problems ahead. Zhuofan cracked jokes with his first 2 rules just to ease them into a false security, while the third rule was to test them, and just as he saw, the third rule was accepted with some hesitation. If they were indeed bestowed by the Emperor, the latter would have ordered them to obey the Luo clan to the letter. So the third rule ought to have been received instantly, but they hesitated. This proved they had a different aim being here, and this sudden rule caught them off guard. Zhuofan showed a crafty smile. This makes you Luo clan's elders. Grand Elder will take you now. Elder Lei. Lei Yuntian flashed before Zhuofan and cupped his hands. Steward Zhuo, orders? These are elders bestowed by His Majesty. They will be under your care. You have to take good care of them. Zhuofan grinned evilly. Lei Yuntian was happy so many experts joined. But Zhuofan's good care painted a very clear image as to Zhuofan's intention regarding these fake. To not let them wander off and to keep his eyes on them. Nodding, Lei Yuntian took the elders with a solemn look. The elders were sadly mistaken that they were now in the clear, having entered the Luo clan, when in fact they would be under tight surveillance. What was more, neither the Fatty nor anyone else there knew this would happen. The Fatty then saw Zhuofan return to being seated at the pavilion along with him and the rest. Brother, besides the third rule, the first 2 will have me killed. Fatty patted Zhuofan's shoulder laughingly. Zhuofan spoke solemnly. Without these 2, how can there be a third rule? Ha ha. Fatty joined in, thinking the first 2 rules were to establish Zhuofan's prestige for the third one. But then he looked at Zhuofan seriously. Then let us get to the matter at hand. Luo clan steward Zhuofan received this edict. Chapter 220 Esoteric Debate. Chapter 220 Esoteric Debate. Long live the Emperor! Luo Yunchang bowed while Zhuofan remained still. Speak. Fatty's fat face twitched helpless. Brother, this is the imperial edict. Looking on with such contempt would have you labeled a traitor and your head chopped. Whatever, only we are here anyway. With Mr. Fong not looking to be a man indulging in gossip, if you won't tell it, no one will. Moreover, it won't matter even if you did. For the Emperor to issue me an imperial edict, that only means he needs me. How could he kill me over such trifles? Zhuofan shrugged. The fatty was lost for words. Zhuofan is indeed a man who can see through anyone. The Emperor wouldn't do anything even if this guy lay in bed when receiving the edict, but where would the imperial family's dignity be then? The fatty looked bitterly at Fong Qiubai. Master, how is this guy any good? Ha ha ha, extraordinary people need to be handled extraordinarily. So you don't need to mind this empty courtesy. Fong Qiubai caressed his beard, sighing. The fatty could only nod. Luo Yunchang rushed to her feet and pouted at Zhuofan's side. He noticed with amusement this new side of the always serious young miss. Young miss, with your temper, you can't be so frivolous around such an important event as receiving the imperial edict. Humph, what frivolous? What would be the point in kneeling if you don't? And you'll be dealing with anything that arises anyway. Luo Yunchang snorted and stuck out her chin. Zhuofan laughed and praised. That's our young miss all right. This was the Luo clan Zhuofan wanted, the best clan in the world. They had to aim for the heavens themselves as well. How could that come to fruition if they'd buckled just from some yellow paper from some emperor? The fatty was almost crying. Zhuofan is ruining the Luo clan. When he came here 3 years ago, the Luo clan was filled with respect and saw the imperial family with reverence. But now they were tough and stubborn, with even the ever-cautious young miss acting like this. They didn't yet make the part to face the 7 houses, but they already started to show the same defect as them. Just how the clan head was, so too did the clan act. And just how their steward behaves now, that's what the clans will turn into. The fatty shook his head, dispensing with the courtesy as well. Never mind then, it's a verbal order anyway. I'll be straight with you. The Emperor intends to have you participate in the esoteric debate and take the regent estate down a peg. The esoteric debate. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow. He looked at Luo Yunchang, finding her just as clueless as he was. The fatty raised his bloated head and showed a cocky grin. Hee, you were so cocky before, so feisty, when you are in fact nothing but boors. It's now my turn to show off. The fatty laughed and preened. Esoteric debate is held once a century, a gathering of the most elite clans. With the Luo clan not being even a third-rate clan, a mere cannon fodder for all these years, it is perfectly normal for you to be ignorant. Is that so? Then why is the Emperor inviting our small clan? Please report to His Majesty, Third Prince, that after hearing your words, Zhuofan feels sorely lacking and ashamed to participate in this grand summit. Tell him to find someone more worthy of his attention. Zhuofan flicked the non-existent dust of his clothes. The fatty caught Zhuofan's arm in panic. Don't, brother. Imperial father will kill me if I go back like this. It is my fault for trying to show off. Right, I will definitely frame Luo clan's first rule on my wall to remind myself every day you will be the only one to show off. Please find it in your heart to forgive this foolish brother of yours. The fatty was begging Zhuofan in tears, his swag gone like the wind. Luo Yunchang giggled and Fong Qiubai shook his head. Fine, do continue. Zhuofan was only playing around with the third prince. He knew when to quit the fatty's side and no longer dared mess around. Brother, to tell the truth, the esoteric debate is really not some place where elite clans gathered, but where houses bet on their honor to avail themselves. It is a slaughterhouse. A clan can rise to the top in one step, or fall to their ruins in another. Many first-rate clans would find themselves worse than even third-rate clans. Brother, you must be vigilant if you still want to go. Oh, why do you say that? Juefan frowned in doubt with a sigh. The fatty's green and beady eyes shined with a deep gaze. This goes back to the founding of the empire, of the time when the 7 houses were in constant conflict with each other. There was no open war between the 7 houses, but none was willing to back down to anyone. To settle the disputes among them, Tianyu's founding emperor signed an agreement with them. Anyone below 30 years of age was going to compete in order to settle whose house would become the head of the 7 houses. These youths would also one day represent their houses in the future. Their power predicted their house's power under their rule. The 7 houses thus no longer took arms and their ranks divided. This was the inception of the esoteric debate. Gradually, more and more outstanding clans who wished for greatness joined. They were chosen by the 7 houses and imperial family to participate. This is how the current esoteric debate came to be, yet, no matter how many clans joined, it was still the 7 houses that came on top. The others would simply be fighting for the chance to be their vassals. It slowly turned into a bizarre situation. For the sake of their reputation, the 7 houses weren't into this debate to the death, while the vassal clans fought to the bitter end for their masters. The survivors would thus be looked kindly upon by the houses, and also receive their support, while the rest would become mountain of bones for the other to rise on. The fatty's tone contained mockery, pity, but most of all anger. The 7 houses' existence robbed the rest of the clans their chance at greatness, reducing them to mere expendable pawns. The esoteric debate held each century left Tianyu stagnant, its power never reaching new heights while the 7 houses' power kept on growing to him. The 7 houses were Tianyu's cancer. Juefan sensed his hatred and nodded. Then what does the emperor expect of me? Defeat Regent Estate? That's hardly feasible for a fresh clan like yours. You're just too weak. The fatty smiled wryly and dismissed his words. Regent Estate dares call itself the head of the 7 houses and harbors the ambition to swallow the other houses because it never once lost in the esoteric debates. Imperial Father wishes for you to harass Regent Estate and throw them off their game. Regardless of which other house takes the head title, it would give Regent Estate a severe blow to their prestige. Juefan's brow trembled and shot the fatty a look. Harass? You want me to lower myself in doing such a trifling matter? Ha ha ha, brother, I know you're great, but you do not understand them. Even interfering would be a tough problem for many other people. Chuckling, Fatty gave him a yellow ribbon of silk. This was the roster for the last esoteric debate. See for yourself. Juefan looked at the names of the 7 houses' disciples in shock. Especially since there were so many familiar names, the fatty pointed out each one. The 7th name, from Drifting Flowers Edifice, must be quite familiar to you. Grandmother Chu Bijuan is renowned among the 7 houses. But despite her bravery, she was too weak. Drifting Flowers Edifice was dead last among the houses in the last esoteric debate. As if to point out it would in fact become the weakest in this last century among the houses. Juefan nodded. Watching the names, many issues started making sense. It showed the precise power of every house lord, extrapolated into the probable power each clan had in the near future. The 6th name, Mary Woods. Juefan's eyes skipped it the moment he saw it. Humph, nothing notable about a claptrap spouting opportunist pre-Copernican obscurantist with no backbone to speak of. 5th name, Sword Marquis Abode, led by Jian Suifeng. Juefan's eyes twitched and frowned. Since Sword Marquis Abode came in 5th, then its power was also in 5th among the houses. The next name had him widen his eyes. 4th, Veiled Dragon Pavilion with Long Jiu and the other elders. 3rd, Hell Valley with Yu Geeki participating as well. 2nd, Pill King Hall's group led by Vicious Pill King. And 1st, of course, was Regent Estate. Juefan's heart sank. All his allies were dead last while the top ranks were held by Regent Estate's loyal dogs. They were not only weaker than the head, but weaker than everyone else. Picking up on his thoughts, The fatty laughed and patted his shoulder. Ha ha ha, there's no need to fret, brother. Thanks to your evil ways, these houses' power is no longer what it used to. What do you mean? Joafan's eyes shined. He knew he wrecked Hell Valley, but what of Pill King Hall? Fatty chuckled. The ranking of the last esoteric debate is like this because of some amazing figures that appeared at the time. Hell Valley's third spot was all thanks to Fifth Elder. Diamondback Ape's power pushed back Veiled Dragon Pavilion's third elder in accordance with Yu Geeky's master plan. Without these two, Hell Valley would be far weaker than Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Then there's Pill King Hall in second place. They had vicious Pill King to thank for that. His poison was so deadly no one dared approach him. Without him, they wouldn't have gotten ahead of even Mary Woods. The fatty trailed off, but Joafan got the picture. Hell Valley and Pill King Hall's powers were mostly sapped, since their pillars were cruelly and mercilessly killed, or ruined, by Joafan himself, so of course the two no longer were what they used to. Fatty grinned. There were many illustrious names in the last esoteric debate. Yu Geeky, this mastermind, was publicly acclaimed as the first genius among the 20 profound heaven experts of the 7 houses joining the debate. Then there was Vicious Pill King, the alchemist of the millennium. Uncle Gio also showed great prowess as well, known for his purple lightning gold eye. Joafan nodded, secretly rejoicing. It was great that his first profound heaven expert kill was Yu Geeky, avoiding many future headaches with Yu Geeky alive, plotting from the shadows. His head would have hurt like hell by now. But wasting Yu Geeky was the same as cutting Hell Valley's power in half. Thinking clearly now, his trip to Blue Expanse City was downright ingenious. As for Vicious Pill King, I sure scored big. Chapter 221, The 6 Dragons and Phoenix. Chapter 221, The 6 Dragons and Phoenix. Now that you have seen where the 7 houses stand, you need to pay a closer look to your strongest opponents in the next esoteric debate. The fatty handed another yellow silk ribbon on a heavy tone. These are the widely acclaimed geniuses of today from the 7 houses. The 6 dragons and 1 phoenix. 6 dragons and phoenix? Joafan perked an eyebrow. That thin silk caught his interest. He recalled having heard of this title in the Drifting Flowers edifice, when he shelved that info for later. Only to now realize these were the candidates for top power holders in their houses for the next century. Fatty continued, the 6 dragons and 1 phoenix goes back 1,000 years. Along the course of history, these 7 had always been the strongest talents at each debate. No matter how great the disciples of other sects and clans were, they still couldn't compare. In fact, they fell dreadfully short. In other words, the future of the 7 houses is in their hands, their power reaching higher than their predecessor, and slipping ever so slightly out of the imperial family's control with every generation. This is why the Regent estate is in a haste to unify the 7 houses now. Any more delays would make this ambition too costly to achieve, if not impossible. Joafan nodded. The 7 houses' growth wasn't just a plague on the imperial family, but on Regent estate as well. If this went on, Tianyu would find itself one day split in 7, with the imperial family still there only to keep up appearances. But among the houses, the statuses would change, one no longer being the head of the 7 houses. With the empire divided, unification would hardly be achievable again. Joafan watched the silk ribbon in earnest. The phoenix here is represented by Drifting Flowers Edifice's Edifice Lord, Ascending Ice Phoenix, Chu Qingqing. The fatty's finger rested on Drifting Flowers Edifice. Some say Chu Qingqing has the beauty to destroy nations and incredible talent as well. She was entrusted with the power of Edifice Lord since young. With her strong character, her aloof disposition gives the impression the men would only dirty her. Nevertheless, her power is very much real, surpassing many of the 7 houses' elders. You saw her. Joafan interrupted him with a smile. The fatty sighed. You can say that I have and haven't. When she was 16, I once went to Drifting Flowers Edifice. That fine figure, the grace, the pose are all otherworldly. Many years have passed since, but I still recall that view as if from a dream. Ah, such a pity her face was always covered. Despite staying for one short month, she only shot me a glance. She is truly deserving of being called an icy beauty. Is that so? But I've seen her. Joafan nodded. Fatty nodded out of reflex, then froze and cried, "What, you did? You saw her, even her face?" "What else would I be seeing?" Joafan grinned. The fatty threw him a look of envy as he rushed to ask, "How does she look? Do the rumors do her justice?" "Ha ha ha, as if. Regardless if she's a fairy, an immortal, or even goddess, no amount of words are enough to encompass her visage. Your imaginations could never fathom the extent of her beauty." Joafan was once again putting on airs, as if it was his second nature. The fatty swallowed dryly, and glared at Joafan. Why is it that this punk always gets the good stuff? How many men ever saw Chu Chingching's face? I didn't get the chance to see it, yet this darn kid could? Luo Yunchang was sulking with puffed-out cheeks. "Joafan, is she that pretty?" "Absolutely. I have the 3 days spent with her as testament of how accurate my description is." Joafan nodded, but it only helped fuel Luo Yunchang's anger, while the fatty shouted out of envy, "What, you lived with her for 3 days? Doesn't she loathe men?" That depends on the man. I mean, everyone is different. You can't go saying because she was cold to you when you met that she's an icy beauty. Brother, this may possibly be a little harsh, but take it from me. If I were a woman, even I wouldn't want to be seen with you. Patting the fatty's shoulder, Joafan sighed. The fatty was sullen, his mouth twitching. "God damn it, can you not cut me so deep then make a joke out of it?" Although, Joafan's eyes sharpened, Chu Chingching's talent truly is amazing, but it may not be as monstrous as you'd think. She couldn't even beat Huangpu Qingyun. If these 6 dragons 1 phoenix are the same, I can handle them easily. Joafan was pretty darn egotistical, yet the fatty didn't jump to criticize him. Since Joafan kicked a storm in Drifting Flowers' edifice and escaped unharmed still, he was entitled to some bragging rights. It was now that the ever-silent Fong Qiubai coughed. "Kid, if you really think so, you'd have the shock of your life 5 years later in the esoteric debate." "Oh, what makes you say that?" Joafan raised an eyebrow. His eyes snapped on the divine dragon. Fong Qiubai squinted. "Having been to Drifting Flowers' edifice in person, you must know by now their situation. I've met that girl as well. Her talent is outstanding, but the chaos around her had stalled her cultivation, making her fall behind other houses' disciples. You said that she couldn't match Huangpu Qingyun, but let me tell you this. When Chu Qingqing was 20 and fought Huangpu Qingyun, I happened to be the judge. How do you think it ended?" Joafan frowned. "Ha ha ha, Huangpu Qingyun suffered a total defeat in 1 move." Fong Qiubai laughed. "I could see then that this girl's talent surpassed a divine dragon's. And the other house's disciples are no different." Joafan nodded, not daring to slight them again. Furthermore, with Drifting Flowers' edifice having regained Chu Bijuan's support, that girl can now focus on cultivating. I am eager to see how far she can reach in 5 years' time. But the other house's disciples will most likely go even higher. I look forward to see this time's esoteric debate. Ha ha ha. Fong Qiubai laughed at the sky. Joafan gasped, his gaze unprecedentedly hard. If there's any truth in Fong Qiubai's words, then these 6 dragons and 1 phoenix will probably exceed my clan's elders by then. He was going to face the same level of freak as him. Fatty nodded, seeing Joafan's dead serious face. Among the 6 dragons, Mary Woods has the forest fleeting dragon, Lin Xianfeng. Mary Woods has the most uncanny speed among the houses, and Lin Rufing's is even more so. He fleets about the trees like the wind, gone before you even know it. From Sword Marquise Abode hails golden armored sword dragon, Xie Tianshang. Sword Marquise Abode is an item refining house, also specialized in sword art. Xie Tianxiang is many times stronger than his younger brother, Xie Tianyang, a true sword genius. Sword Marquis Abode's sole profound ranked martial art, Flowing Space's 9 forms, is so intricate that many elders can't even grasp it fully their entire lives. Then they say that this kid had done it at 9, unconceivable. Zhuofan listened engrossed as the fatty got him acquainted with every dragon. When Fatty reached Regent Estate, his hands trembled, his gaze hard. Brother, none of them can ever amount to the one I'm about to tell you next. Regent Estate's eldest young master, heaven-shaking dragon lord, Huangpu Qingtian. Taking a deep breath to compose himself, Fatty resumed. His younger brother, Huangpu Qingyun, you've met. But if you compare the two, the younger brother looks totally average, and the same goes for the 5 dragons. This is the true genius among geniuses, a freak among freak. And it is this man we know the least about. But one thing is certain, the 5 dragons and 1 phoenix are not his match. Zhuofan's eyes widened, his heart jumped. Just now you said the 5 dragons and 1 phoenix are incredible, making me cautious, but then you go and tell me none of them can hold a candle to the 6th dragon. Just what kind of horror is that guy? The fatty patted Zhuofan's shoulder and sighed. Now do you get it? Brother, it's not that easy to interfere with Regent Estate as you may think. Next to these freaks, the so-called demon Zhuofan everyone talks about falls short. Squinting, Zhuofan took a deep breath. No worries. At the next esoteric debate 5 years later, you will see a brand new Zhuofan and Luo clan. But first, there are some things that require my immediate attention. I hope the Imperial family can keep the Luo clan safe in the meantime. Eyes shining, Fatty and Fong Qiubai shared a look and smiled a nod. Rest assured, brother. Train in peace and prepare for the esoteric debate. Leave the Luo clan's safety to us. Also, if you stand out enough in the esoteric debate, Imperial Father will use this chance to hail you to the rank of noble house. Then, Regent Estate will find it much harder to touch you when it has to go through the Imperial family first. The fatty just promised any other clan's most cherished dream, but also entrusting him with a near-suicidal mission no clan would ever want. Zhuofan nodded and sighed. Fortune has always favored the bold. In the thick of danger, opportunity avails itself. And this esoteric debate is Luo clan's best chance to shoot straight for the moon. Chapter 222, Thunder Swarm Mountain. Chapter 222, Thunder Swarm Mountain. The two had explained everything thoroughly to Zhuofan before leaving. Seeing them go, Zhuofan's eyes shined. Young miss, gather everyone. It is time we go to Wingay City. Luo Yunchang looked at him deeply before nodding. Not much later, they all gathered, except the Grand Elder, who was watching over the newcomers. Luo Yunchang and Zhuofan took the main seats, overlooking them as they explained what Fatty said. Even though shocked, everyone was sporting a serious face. The Imperial family's task was of monumental proportions. It wanted this fresh clan, not even a decade old, to fight against the 7 houses with a 1,000-year-old legacy. Each this was a fool's errand. Even Li Jingtian was frowning. Elderly, you've been living in Regent Estate until now. What are, in your opinion, my chances with Huangpu Qingtian? Zhuofan asked. The others settled down, awaiting his answer. Li Jingtian shook his head. None whatsoever. The eyes of others widened, their hearts jumped, and Zhuofan frowned. Li Jingtian's assessment was undoubtedly reliable, giving Zhuofan further shock. Old Li, Steward Zhua isn't your run-of-the-mill. Wherever in Tianyu have you seen any other bone-tempering cultivator kill a dozen profound heaven experts in Tianyu? You're saying that twerp Huangpu Qingtian still holds a candle to our great steward Zhua? Xue Qingjian giggled a flattery. However, Zhuofan shot her a glare. Sister, sucking up has no place here. Please take this matter seriously, or I'll take what you said as wishing for my demise. Xue Qingjian zipped her mouth on the spot. She could feel the coldness in Juefan's tone. This also made the others tremble. The usual rampant and obnoxious Juefan actually knew to be cautious at crucial times. His act earned their admiration. He wasn't one influenced by some cheap words of flattery, keeping his cool when it was needed the mostly Jingtian secretly approved. Steward Jue, to be blunt, Third Prince and Fang Qiubai didn't see the real him, only speaking based on mere hearsay. But even if they had seen him, they'd have the same impression. Poise of a king and a talent of a freak. Juefan squinted. Go on. As Elder Shui mentioned, Steward Jue's bone-tempering cultivation is enough to kill profound heaven experts. But I feel the need to enlighten everyone here that Steward Jue isn't the first to have done this. 10 years ago, Huangpu Qintian, in his second layer of bone-tempering stage, easily defeated Regent Estate's profound heaven elders. As you all know, their elders are unlike Yu Giki and the others. Every one of them trained in Imperial Tyrant body art. How is that possible? Even Juefan couldn't help but cry out. His victories over profound heaven experts were thanks to his lightning wings and diamond sand body. He never thought it possible for a second method to exist into making another reach such power. Li Jingtian read this from his reaction and smiled dejectedly. They are the freaks roaming this world. It's as if they were born to trample everyone else under their feet. Before I left, he had always been under the High Venerable's tutelage, and I am unsure of his progress. But no question about it, he is in the profound heaven stage, just as Huangpu Qinyun. At least in the 5th layer. His real power is hard to fathom. Up to this point, Juefan had been in a constant frown. He never once saw it possible for one man's exceptional talent to reach such an incredible level. Thus, he refused to believe one man's talent could be so monstrous. Taking into account old Li's opinion, does this mean Steward Jue has not even a glimmer of hope in beating him? Qiu Yanhai turned to Juefan in worry. He was no longer hating Juefan for forcing them to join. On the contrary, he was completely grateful. Without Juefan, he and Shui Qingjian wouldn't have grown so powerful so quickly. Juefan was their matchmaker and was worried for his safety. Chuckling, Li Jingtian said, "That may hardly be the case. What I spoke of was in terms of strength. It just means Steward Jue is unable to face him head-on. Others are clueless to Steward Jue's tricks, but which elder among us isn't clear on how he operates? Remember how every one of us joined the Luo clan." They all looked at each other and burst out laughing. Indeed, the dread of Juefan wasn't based on power, but a shrewdness similar to Yu Giki's. It involved schemes hardly anyone could pierce. Taking that into account as well, then Juefan's chances were through the roof. Yen Song praised, "This esoteric debate may very well be the strongest since its inception. Thank my lucky stars I joined the one last century, or I may as well turn into cannon fodder in this one." The others cracked up again, to which Juefan just smiled. But one name carved itself in his heart, Huangpu Qintian. "Elders, do any of you know of a place with thick thunderclouds in Tianyu?" One voice spoke. "Why does Steward Jue ask?" With a flash, Juefan held a flickering egg. He smiled. "This is why. 6th level spiritual beast, Thunder Skylark's egg." They all cried in shock. Li Jingtian watched Juefan in envy. He. Steward Jue has many hidden treasures, even a 6th level spiritual beast's egg. If it hatches, we will have a beast that will even give a radiant stage a run for his money. Yeah, we toiled long and hard, yet only managed to get 5th level spirit animals. Who knew Steward Jue would hold a 6th level spiritual beast? This is a rare treasure even for a radiant stage. Steward Jue's methods are flawless. Shui Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai admired him with a dismissive wave. Juefan smiled. "Please, enough with the buttering. I only obtained this egg through chance. And because it was damaged, I had to go to Drifting Flower's edifice and use Bodhi Jade sap to restore it. Then various things cropped up and had no time to mind it. Only recently I managed to restore it. But to make it hatch, I must find a place with thick lightning bolts. Easy, just set up a thunder-gathering array. Xue Qingjian shrugged. Zhuofan shot her alternative option on the spot. The lightning will be too feeble and also costly. I want to incubate it in a natural thundercloud. This is all so its power will reach its peak. Li Jingtian and the rest nodded. Incubating it with poor lightning bolts would only waste this grand 6th-level spiritual beast's potential. They knew what was on Zhuofan's mind. This was another ace up his sleeve in dealing with Huangpu Qingtian. The hatching of this spirit animal was of great import. If we're speaking of a natural place engulfed in thunderstorm all year round in Tianyu, only one place comes to mind. Li Jingtian caressed his beard. Xue Qingjian was frantic. No way. That's a forbidden area. We already have our hands full with the 7 houses. Isn't that enough trouble as it is? What place are you talking about? Zhuofan was quite piqued. The elders exchanged a glance and said together, Thunder Swarm Mountain. Thunder Swarm Mountain? What's wrong with it? As Steward Zhuo can imagine, it is a place where lightning strikes every day, all day. Its skies blanketed with thick thunderclouds. This place had been like this ever since the founding of the empire. Li Jingtian spoke. Zhuofan's eyes shined. Perfect. I'll have my egg hatch there. You can't. Xue Qingjian cried in panic. Since 60 years ago, one of the Empire's 3 guardian sects, Demon Scheming Sect, exiled 4 criminals there to receive thousands of thunder strikes a day. If we go there and release the 4 by mistake, we'll be offending the Demon Scheming Sect and suffer their wrath. Zhuofan squinted. Are you saying the 4 criminals are being guarded by the Demon Scheming Sect? Not at all. Demon Scheming Sect just left them there and ignored them ever since. They thought none would dare risk offending them and let the 4 out. What bloody reason is there to fear then? Even if we do let them out by mistake, we just have to haul ass out of there with none the wiser. Zhuofan snickered. Xue Qingjian was startled. That's true. But won't that be too vile? If Demon Scheming Sect ever finds out, we're done for. But how could the bold Zhuofan be so cowardly? If he'd be panicking over every trifle, how could he have ever risen to be a demonic emperor? Zhuofan slapped his thigh, settling on taking Li Jingtian to Thunder Swarm Mountain. This used to be in preparation for Lightning Canyon, but now became a means to deal with Huangpu Qingtian as well. But before he set out, he entrusted an unbelievable task to Yen Song and Lei Yuding. This task would decisively affect Luo clan's place in Tianyu. Chapter 223 The Abominable 4 Scheming Demons. Chapter 223 The Abominable 4 Scheming Demons. Whoosh! 2 figures flashed among the clouds. They were Zhuofan and Li Jingtian on their way to Thunder Swarm Mountain. Elderly, how much longer? Zhuofan rubbed his thunder ring. Li Jingtian calculated. By my estimates, we should arrive in 3 days. Good. Zhuofan flapped his wings and tripled his speed. The faster we get there, the better. Who? Then, a sudden attack came at them in the form of a shadow. Zhuofan had no time to stop. About to smash into it, Li Jingtian intervened, however, and grabbed Zhuofan's neck. He then placed Zhuofan behind him, but the shadow sped straight for them, ghostly dragon claw. Li Jingtian shouted bam. With a devastating sound, the shadow was sent flying while Li Jingtian stood unfazed, tall and proud. Yet he couldn't stop his red hand from shaking. Elderly, are you all right? Zhuofan looked on carefully while Li Jingtian was frowning. Don't worry. That item is a spiritual weapon, most likely a 5th grade one. If not for being a body cultivator, I might have ended up dead. Sighing, Zhuofan nodded, then breathed easier. Hi. You must be someone to have blocked my 5th grade spiritual weapon, the bone staff, with your bare hand. It looks like I caught myself a big fish. A creepy snicker accompanied the appearance of a man not 100 meters from the pair, holding a black item in his hands. Under a closer look, Fan could see that the black item was a 2-meter-long black staff with a human skull at the ends. The wielder, however, was a hideous pygmy. The evil air wafting from him made one's nerves tighten. Third layer of radiant stage. Fan's eyes widened as he and Li Jingtian cried at the same time. The pygmy was excited all of a sudden and gesticulated in joy. Hi hi hi. Now you know how great I am, so be good and surrender and I may be kind enough to spare your miserable lives. Humph, a mere third layer of radiant stage expert dares show off before me? Li Jingtian stomped forward and released his mighty power. The pygmy was cowered back again and again by the display and gasped, "What, you're in the 6th layer? Ha ha ha. How the hell did you live so long to reach the 3rd layer of radiant stage when you attack without even scouting your opponent first?" Fan mocked. "It's my turn to ask the questions. Who are you and why did you attack us?" The pygmy cackled after sparing Fan a second glance. Ha ha ha. A puny 5th layer of bone-tempering cultivator thinks himself worthy of hearing your grandpa's name? You little shit that is neither human nor monster, dares to call yourself my grandpa? Fan's face was vicious as he glared. "Elderly, no more questions. Deal with this midget and let's be on our way." "With pleasure." Li Jingtian had long found this pygmy's attitude annoying. Fan shows off because he is the steward of a clan, and he has both ambition and power within himself. While you, a filthy little shite, too ugly to even look at, and weaker than me to boot, dare do the same? You have another thing coming. So Li Jingtian eagerly went on the offensive the instant Fan gave the order. The pygmy wasn't scared by Li Jingtian's charge, however, and started twirling his bone staff. Bang. Metallic clashes rang all around. Li Jingtian didn't use a weapon, but as a body cultivator, he honed his body into a weapon in and of itself. Every one of his strikes was no lesser than one coming from the bone staff, and since the two of them were of different cultivation layers, the pygmy was on the retreat with every blow from Li Jingtian. Despite holding the advantage with a spiritual weapon, he wielded the black staff with uncanny movements, avoiding all attacks, but when his energy reserves were up, only death would welcome him. Blast it! I really hit a snag this time. The pygmy started cursing from exhaustion. Then, clenching his teeth, he suddenly jumped to gain some distance, but Li Jingtian realized his attempt at running away, so he shouted and struck the black staff fiercely with his hands. This time, however, as the black staff danced, the pygmy was shrouded in black energy. While the bone staff started letting out eerie screeches the next second, the vile energy took the shape of a skeleton as it cackled at the two. This demonic cultivation method is beyond vile. Fan frowned. He never thought this weird pygmy would be a sinister demonic cultivator, but he wasn't worried. When it came to sinister demonic methods, the wraith style used by Li Jingtian was by far one of the most wicked out there. Hi, you didn't expect this, did you? I am a dreadful demonic cultivator. With this low profound ranked martial art of mine, Demon Shadow Bone Staff, I will swallow your body and soul. Scared now? Ha ha ha, the pygmy crackled from within the shadowy skeleton. Li Jingtian only grinned. Moron. What, you still dare take me on? Then die. The pygmy sure had a screw loose, though he had quite the sharp pair of ears on him. The mockery in Li Jingtian's words earned his rage, charging at him with the image of the skeleton, but Li Jingtian only smirked without an ounce of fear, just as a black dragon image engulfed him. You blind little shit, let me show you true demonic martial arts. Wraith Style's first move, Soaring Demonic Dragon. Roar! With a reverberating roar, Li Jingtian's power surged and charged at the skeleton image. In a totally anticlimactic way, the skeleton image up and vanished without even a sound. The pygmy spurted blood, and was sent flying just as his staff snapped into. A 5th-grade spiritual weapon was broken by using brute force alone. The Mad Dipper combined with wraith art was a force to be reckoned with. Looking at his broken black staff, The pygmy realized the error of his ways. He really kicked a wall this time. His eyes began to show fear. Wait, hold on, I give. Please let me go. The pygmy started wailing and begging for his life. Li Jingtian turned to Zhuofan for opinions, only to see him looking elsewhere and letting him handle it. So Li Jingtian looked at the pygmy with a cruel grin. It's far too late now, you little shit. Li Jingtian laughed and slapped his chest. The pygmy wailed, Brothers, your big brother is about to die. Come save me. Who dares kill my brother? An ear-piercing cry resounded and startled Li Jingtian into seeing 3 shadows flying at him. They were on him in a flash. The 3 launched attacks at the same time, forcing him to jump next to Zhuofan, but the sight of them had Zhuofan and Li Jingtian slack-jawed. Before there was 1 and now there were 4 pygmies. Though there were differences here and there despite how ugly they all were, one was sharp, one was wretched, and the last was shy. Now that the 3 helped the first pygmy up, he regained his brash tone and started cackling, Ha ha ha, so now you're scared since my brothers are here? Give yourself up and I may be inclined to spare your wretched lives. Zhuofan's face twitched and darkened. He definitely has more than one screw loose. He just had a harsh lesson beaten into him a moment ago, but now he's back to showing off. Guess you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It was fine if his backers were stronger, but Zhuofan could easily see they were of the same cultivation. Elderly had no problem with one, so where did this tyke get all that courage from? Elderly, for the sake of humanity, get rid of these little shits. I can't bear to watch. Zhuofan sighed. Li Jingtian however recalled something and turned grave. Steward Zhuo, we may have hit a snag this time. Startled, Zhuofan saw Li Jingtian cup his hands. Are you perhaps the legendary 4 scheming demons the demon scheming sect placed in Thunder Swarm Mountain? Widening his eyes, Zhuofan turned to the 4. Didn't the demon scheming sect lock them up? What are they doing up and about? At his mention, the 4 assumed weird poses and shouted to the world, Indeed. We are the demonic cultivator hero quartet, known to all as the Abominable 4 scheming demons. The creepy display the 4 put on and their pygmy appearances was jarring to one's eyes. Zhuofan was even cringing. These 4 are grade A weirdos, one dumber than the next. I just can't figure out why in the world demon scheming sect would take them in. Elderly, I still believe it's in humanity's best interest you deal with them, forthwith. Now I know why the demon scheming sect threw them in the Thunder Swarm Mountain and forgot about them. Humph, not even I would want to spare one moment longer seeing these weirdos. But not only Li Jingtian was unmoving, his face only grew heavier. Steward Zhuo, they are more than their exotic appearance led you to believe. These 4 threw Tianyu in chaos when they joined hands back in the day. Zhuofan squinted and looked at them again. Since it was so, he was very much eager to see how. Chapter 224 Dreadful Unity Tactic. Chapter 224 Dreadful Unity Tactic. Big brother, they look impressive. It's best we make a run for it. One pygmy hunkered behind the other 3 and peeked his head out at Zhuofan in fear. Zhuofan was stumped. The hell, you balked after some hot air? This never happened before, not once. What are you doing posing around as our enemy then? Why not just scram in the first place? Another pygmy noticed this contradiction and cuffed the shy one over the head. Coward, you're always cramping our style. We won't take you with us ever again. And our eldest bro was hurt by them. How can we let this slide? Zhuofan nodded. That's more like it. He was sensible to even neglect that part about their style. This guy's reaction is more like it. That's a proper human response. But that thought didn't finish forming as the pygmy added another slap. And even if we don't get revenge for old bro, how are we going to get compensation for getting his bone staff ruined? They have to pony up. The pygmy was then holding the halves of the black staff close to his heart, On the verge of crying, Juafan's face twitched and darkened. His previous thought was wiped clean off his mind. I stand corrected, they're inhuman. You don't care about your elder bro's wound, and yet you cry over some junk? Even if it is a 5th grade spiritual weapon, how can Radiant stage experts bawl over something like this? In the end, the eldest pygmy ignored his moronic brother's senseless talk and shouted as he hit their heads, "God damn it! I didn't call you over to squabble, but to fight. I'll lead and you follow." He then charged at Juafan and Elderly, but on his second step, his wounds flared and he spat blood. Even so, his eyes were fixed on Juafan. Attack, attack! The last pygmy thought of making an even bigger scene and was now hopping and skipping from the side, egging them on. Though he showed not an ounce of intent to join the bustle, their eyes squinting, the other 3 turned to this pygmy and started raining kicks and punches on this cheerleader, blasted all to hell. Every single time you stand aside and cheer but are the last one to help. Yeah, third bro. If you don't charge first this time, we won't charge at all. Let's all calm down a bit. Old bro is wounded. It might be best if we make a tactical retreat. The cowering pygmy in the back earned a glare from the rest. Then the 3 started taking it out on him. "Fourth bro, you butt in every single time and ruin our morale and make us lose. Yeah, we wouldn't have lost the last time if you'd have charged with us. How else could the sect leader manage to banish us in that wretched place to suffer so many lightning attacks otherwise?" The 3 were quite springy in giving the 4th a run for his money. Then the 4th thought of something and barked, "What of second bro? If not for him being so damn petty, going after the spiritual weapon the enemy dropped, we wouldn't have lost." In a blink, the 3 stopped and turned to the pygmy that wanted compensation. Now the 4th joined the squabble, and the 3 ganged on the second bro. Juafan's face was having a field day from all that twitching. What the hell's wrong with these weirdos? What have they come here for? Beat each other up. Their enemy was right across, yet they were having the time of their lives, smacking themselves instead. Juafan couldn't make out if they were mocking the 2 or plain dumb as a rock. "Elderly, are these guys even strong?" Juafan sneered. Li Jingtian sweated, "Should be. I only heard rumors about them and never met them myself. They say these 4 are quadruplets and fit together like a glove. This is why the demon scheming sect recruited them and taught them a unity tactic. They usually win by numbers, despite being weaker." "That doesn't look united to me. How do they even fight if all they do is beat each other?" Juafan scratched his nose. Li Jingtian laughed wryly, despite the 4's fight getting more traction, and explained, "Steward Jua, just as you heard, this must have led to their banishment. They may be able to work together flawlessly in battle, but their characters are totally different and hard to reach a consensus." Speaking of the first pygmy, he is the eldest among the 4 scheming demons. Violent demon. He is brash, rude, and very much brainless. No matter how strong the opponent he faces, he is the first to charge head first. If his brothers follow or not is another matter entirely. This is also why we didn't sense any soul ripple to scout our level, and instead skipped to throwing the black staff at us. "Oh, I am well aware of his stupidity." Juafan nodded. Li Jingtian pointed at the pygmy getting a beating. "The one asking for compensation is the second brother, Scrooge Demon. He is the cheapskate of the 4, narrow-minded, and always forgoes long-term profit in favor of short-term pocket change. He is a typical case of strain at gnats and swallow camels. That guy deserves to be beaten. He ignores his elder bro and laments the loss of a spiritual weapon. One look at him and it makes me want to smack him too." Juafan watched him get clobbered without remorse. Li Jingtian chuckled, pointing at the cheering, yet the least one to do anything, like a mascot. "That is the third brother, Sly Demon. He is sharp and expert in sneak attacks. Rumor has it that each time the 4 fight, he always stands at the sideline doing nothing. But every time heads come rolling on the enemy's sides, it's all thanks to him. He's your typical opportunist. This guy has at least a redeeming quality, hoodwinking his enemies, and yet he uses his smarts to steal the credit from right under his brother's noses. At least he's much better than the first two. Zhuofan nodded. Li Jingtian pointed to the cowardly pygmy. He is the fourth brother, Wimp Demon. In every fight, he stands behind his first bro. But some say he is the strongest among the four. Many experts despise his nature and slight him, only to fall at his hands in the end. Zhuofan nodded. Elderly, why don't you go and mess with them a bit? Force them to show their skills. Li Jingtian shook his head vehemently. Steward Zhuo, don't joke about this. They may not look like much, but they're dreadful together. I heard that a century ago, they were only in the 9th layer of Profound Heaven stage, but killed a 2nd layer of Radiant stage expert. Just think. Any Radiant stage expert is hard enough to fight, but these 4 killed one when they were in the Profound Heaven stage. Now that they're in the 3rd layer of Radiant stage, I'm not confident I can come out alive. What's that got to do with anything? Their eldest bro is wounded and their unity tactics effect will fall sharply. With a snicker, Zhuofan got Li Jingtian to see things from a different angle. Suddenly, Zhuofan pointed at Li Jingtian and yelled at the pygmies, "Hey, this old dude said your dad mated with a swine and ended up having you 4 weirdos." The 4 stopped fighting and turned their vicious eyes on Li Jingtian. Zhuofan chuckled and jumped back half a mile, leaving Li Jingtian their sole lone target. Li Jingtian paled from fright and wiped the sweat of his brow. "Steward Zhuo, you screwed me over." The 4 got to their feet and walked to Li Jingtian side by side. Their faces lost their dumb looks and eyed him with savagery. Wimp Demon was no longer cowardly, Sly Demon no longer dodgy, and Scrooge Demon's eyes lost their greed. In that instant, the 4 became just like Violent Demon, releasing their vile power. Zhuofan's brow shuddered and his eyes shined. All while Li Jingtian's mood sank and his eyes glittered with tears as he cursed Zhuofan in his heart to the ends of the earth. "I may be the Luo clan's elder, but that doesn't mean you get to screw me over." But the deal was already done, and Li Jingtian had no choice but to face the music. "That's right. You're all eyesores, so come on." "Ha!" The 4 howled and, with bloodshot eyes, jumped at him. The 4 figures merged in midair, and caused this Mad Dipper to gasp as he took 3 steps back, overwhelmed with shock. Li Jingtian knew this was their unity tactic, but feeling it on his own skin was far more dreadful than hearing about it. The 4's powers combined, but not merely additively, but multiplied. Li Jingtian had no time to be careless, releasing his all in his next punch, colliding with their attack. Boom! With a loud noise, Li Jingtian was thrown 100 meters into the air, feeling the blood in his heart boiling. Yet the 4 savage figures didn't stop for a second. "Curses! You want to go head to head? Fine then, bring it." Li Jingtian held the 4 demons in fear, but once the fight started, his martial fanatic self reared its head. He was no longer afraid, but laughing. Wraith Style's first move, Soaring Demonic Dragon. Roar! A draconic roar echoed, and Li Jingtian was enveloped by a black dragon's image. In his unparalleled state, he charged at the 4 scheming demons. This time, Li Jingtian, with the help of his profound ranked martial art, had gained enough power to overwhelm the 4's combined vile energy. The 4's eyes widened, not expecting Li Jingtian to be so amazing. "Ah, we're finished." Despite saying so, when they were about to collide with Li Jingtian, they snickered. Hi, that's enough playing." In that instant, the strange united attack up and vanished before Li Jingtian, making his attack hit not but air at the same time. Figures appeared around him that escaped the detection of his discerning field. Only a creepy snicker reached his ears, as if to prove he was surrounded. "This." Zhuofan's eyes widened from the side and trembled. Something is definitely off about them. Chapter 225 Necro Dragons, ScreeChapter shakes the four demons. Chapter 225 Necro Dragons, Screech shakes the four demons. Hi hi hi. Among the cawing-like laughter, Li Jingtian's eyes darted to the afterimages popping around him with all the seriousness he could muster. Then, a sudden wind spelled the arrival of Sly Demon, giving him a resounding slap from the front before vanishing into thin air. Li Jingtian couldn't quite make out what just happened, but the reddening cheek bore testament so fast. Zhuofan cried out, but it was far from over. It was now Violent Demon's turn. He gave Li Jingtian a slap from the front again before completing his attack with the same vanishing act. What was even more astonishing was that he hit the same spot it followed with Scrooge Demon and Wimp Demon, slapping him in the same place. Li Jingtian's anger got the better of him as he roared, "You damn little shits, what you think you're doing hitting the same cheek? Come on, here's the other." "Hi hi hi, what's our entertainment got to do with you?" A cackle came from all around in waves while Zhuofan squinted with a thoughtful gaze. Curious, Violent Demon was never that fast. How is it that his speed increased even when he is still injured? Yet, his attack got weaker. I wonder. Elderly, let them hit you. Zhuofan shouted. Li Jingtian was stumped. Haven't I been hit enough already as it is? But thinking about it again, he soon realized Zhuo's aim and grinned. You little shits, I will pay those slaps back 100-fold. Taking a deep breath, Li Jingtian roared, "You bunch of mongrels, let's see if you have the guts to hit my other cheek." "Hi hi hi, no we won't. We'll only hit just that one." The four's creepy laughter echoed again, followed by another slap on Li Jingtian's cheek. But before the hand could even tickle Li Jingtian's face, a large hand clutched it. Li Jingtian snickered at Sly Demon, his eyes sparkling. "Damn bastard, didn't I tell you to hit me on the other cheek? Now you're mine." "Curses, we've been had." Gasping, Sly Demon found that Li Jingtian's words were all to goad him into slapping again. Now that Li Jingtian knew Sly Demon's target, regardless of the speed employed, it was easy to catch him when Li Jingtian's guard was up. This was also Zhuofan's plan when he spoke out before Li Jingtian's grip tightened. There was no way Sly Demon could get out of Li Jingtian's grip, not when he was 3 layers weaker. The other demons shifted around at high speed as they panicked. "Damn, we've been had. He, time to meet your maker. Your unity tactic is done for." Snickering, Li Jingtian slapped Sly Demon's head with such power behind it, especially when it came from the 6th layer of Radiant Stage Li Jingtian, it was really a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Any one of the demons was clear on that. The Sly Demon started struggling and crying out, "I'm dead, so dead. For real this time. Oh gods, I'm gonna die." But the oddest thing happened. In this critical moment the other 3 demons didn't rush to save him, but were crying out in fear. Zhuofan's eyes flashed, his mind making the right adjustments to his train of thoughts. Yet, this mighty palm hit nothing but air in the end. Li Jingtian was shocked, watching Sly Demon's head sinking into his shoulders to dodge the bullet. When the demon's head popped back out, he sighed relieved, "God darn it. You're in my hand already, so why won't you just die?" Li Jingtian was consumed by rage as he launched a flurry of punches. But with incredible shock, Sly Demon, despite having his arm in a vice, twisted around in this limited space he was in, dodging every one of those deadly attacks. Li Jingtian was slack-jawed. What the hell is this? What kind of movement is that? But what truly took the cake was the 3 demons around still crying around in fear, but were not lending Sly Demon any helping hand. Were they abandoning him or confident in their brother's power? In a blink, Li Jingtian was at a complete loss. These 4 scheming demons were freaks in the truest sense of the word. "Elderly, watch out!" Zhuofan warned, and Li Jingtian saw the other 3 demons flying at him, but their speed was far from fast as before, giving Li Jingtian time to react. As his hand still held on to Sly Demon, his legs swept. But what happened next was downright bizarre. The three demons actually closed their eyes in fear, then leaned back to dastardly avoid the kick, while still going straight for Li Jingtian. What the hell? What just happened? Not only can I not make sense of anything they're doing, I can't even anticipate their move. 1 minute they were charging in with all bravado, the next they were flitting all over the place in fear, but one thing was certain, they were on the advantage. With a cry, Violent Demon grabbed Li Jingtian's hand that held Sly Demon and chomped. Li Jingtian let go from the pain, and Sly Demon rejoiced in his newfound freedom. The four demons then returned into circling Li Jingtian at high speeds and letting out eerie laughter. He may be a martial fanatic, and fearless in face of adversity, but fighting these four demons had him at his wits' end. He couldn't make heads or tails when they were weak or strong. It was like hitting frickin' cotton. The four noticed his predicament and laughed as they charged. Brothers, let's fleece this guy and shame him thoroughly. Oh. The other cheered, and Li Jingtian turned serious, eyeing the afterimages around him. But then, they up and vanished, appearing instead as hazy images, as if ghosts from the underworld. Li Jingtian punched. He hit nothing, of course, while the ghosts wrapped around his body. In a blink, his jacket and storage ring left him soundlessly. As if swallowed by those gray ghosts. When the ghosts drew away, they once again let out creepy laughter. Li Jingtian was left in flimsy undergarments, watching his surroundings in shock. I see. So this is their unity tactic. As expected from a demonic skill, striking at the heart of things. Zhuofan took a deep breath and shouted, "Elderly, we are not their match. Retreat at once." Zhuofan was the first to fly away. Li Jingtian gnashed his teeth and snorted in anger before following suit. The four figures reappeared as they watched the pair leave with smiles. Humph, that old geezer thinks he can get away after humiliating us? Hi, brothers, charge. Oh. Under Violent Demon's order, they all cried in unison and gave chase. They were not in the least bit slower than Li Jingtian, perhaps even faster. Li Jingtian threw a look back and paled as he arrived next to Zhuofan. They are clearly in the third layer of Radiant stage, so how are they surpassing my speed? They'll soon be upon us. No worries, that's only the third brother's cultivation method, which focused on speed alone. Even if he does catch up to us, he can't do jack squat. Snickering, Zhuo put on an ambiguous smile. Li Jingtian was startled, but clueless nonetheless. Elderly, once they get close, we'll finish them off in a blink. What? Li Jingtian cried. How? He had tangled with the four at full power to no avail. He couldn't find any real way of dealing with these weird quadruplets. Zhuofan said, they use a unity tactic, so getting rid of one is of course impossible. You need to defeat all four of them at the same time. Going after just one is pointless. Then how? Li Jingtian muttered, smiling. Zhuofan raised an eyebrow. Elderly, do you recall Wraithstyle's third move? Li Jingtian's eyes lit up and nodded, as both of them broke out in laughter. Then shall we do this together? Li Jingtian asked. Of course. Rather be safe than sorry. Zhuofan smiled and his hand made a sign, with Li Jingtian copying him. The four demons were right behind the two when Violent Demon screamed, "You two better give up, and I may be inclined to spare your miserable lives. And pay us for the broken bone staff," Scrooge Demon added with a snicker. Zhuofan and Li Jingtian shared a look and nodded. They grounded to a halt and shot straight for the oblivious four, shouting in unison, Wraithstyle's third move, Necro Dragon's Screech. Roar! With two draconic roars, two soul ripples shot straight for four scheming demons. They cried in shock, having not expected them to know a sound martial art, the bane of their unity tactic. A pity realizing wasn't the same as escaping it in a blink. The mighty sound waves crashed into the four. They couldn't even wail their pain as they spat blood and toppled over like logs. Even the forest beneath them was affected, turning into a place of death as animal corpses littered the earth. After all, this was the combined attack of two souls. How could the average man handle it? These 4 third-layer Radiant stage experts were no different. Peace soon instilled once again, though carrying with it an eerie tune. Juefan and Elderly watched the dead-eyed 4 demons on the ground and gave a smug smile. Li Jingtian in particular. He snatched back his jacket and storage ring from Scrooge Demon and cursed, "God damn it, what are you doing still holding them when you're out like a light? No wonder he's Scrooge Demon. Well, let me return the favor and make you demons in the truest sense by sending you all to hell." "Elderly, wait!" Juefan rushed to stop him. "I still have use for the 4. Seal their cultivation for now." Li Jingtian nodded after a pause, catching Juefan's drift. He. The 4's hell has only just begun. Chapter 226. Even sages are idiots sometimes. Chapter 226. Even sages are idiots sometimes. Why do I feel so woozy? Violent Demon opened his heavy eyelids, but his vision was still foggy. He reached to scratch his head, but oddly enough, he couldn't. Looking down, damn it, I'm hogtied. Turning to his sides, his bros were in the same boat, all strapped around a 3-meter thick tree. He wailed, "Oi, wake up you fools, we're strapped here." The 3 were roused and slowly getting their wits about them, what little they ever had. When they saw they were in a very tight pinch and their cultivation sealed, they started wailing, "Oh bloody hell, who's the bastard that dares tie us 4 demons, your grandpas? Release us right now, or I'll give you a fate worse than death. Ha ha ha, these little shits sure are bonkers. Look at them, like lambs to the slaughter yet still so feisty." A chuckle announced Juefan and Li Jingtian's casual entrance in their field of view, one filled with derision. In response, the 4 rained curses. Li Jingtian's face was dark and was ready to hit them. "You damn mongrels, one more peep out of you and I'll have your heads." The barking halted on the spot, but their beady eyes still glared at the duo. Juefan and Li Jingtian only laughed. These 4 were blokes, but at least knew to read the mood. They balked under the tiniest threat, making it much easier for what Juefan had in mind next. Cough. "I will now ask you some questions. Be honest, or I'll make sure you are 6 feet under." Juefan coughed dryly. The 4 just shook their heads and puffed out their chests. "Quite brave, or maybe moronic? Well, ask away, but I won't answer one." Juefan brushed past their rash reaction and asked, "I heard you were sealed in Thunder Swarm Mountain. How come you're out? Who released you?" "Don't know." Violent Demon shouted. Juefan snorted, "Nerves of steel, I see. Elderly, waste him." "Wait, I really don't know." Violent Demon's courage was deflated on the spot as he pleaded, "I beg you, let us go. We've only been out for a few months and hardly played enough. We don't want to die." "Screw you, if you cherish your life so much, what are you doing posing as heroes?" Juefan glared. "These little shits are only good at putting up an act." But they didn't know when to stop and almost fooled even him in thinking they were tough as nails. Violent Demon heard Juefan's demand and nodded, all while his brothers were snickering. But a glare from the eldest brother had them fall in line. Juefan rolled his eyes. "I've never seen such top-notch weirdos in either of my lives." But the doubts he had were far from cleared. "You're saying someone let you out and yet you don't know? You expect me to buy such an obvious lie? Our lives are in your hands. We'd never dare do anything of the sort. We really don't know." Violent Demon was bitter as he tried to painstakingly remember. 8 months ago, we were still trapped in the Thunder Swarm Mountain, struck by thousands of lightning daily. Then, a sudden crack opened in the barrier. But when we got out, there was no one there. So we went about doing the usual, killing, burning, pillaging, ruining some cities and clans, you know, the works. Hold up, why on earth did you start doing that anyway? Juefan blinked. The 4 looked at each other and sneered, with Violent Demon growing cocky in his creepy laughter. "I can tell with one look you're a bookworm and narrow-minded. We are demonic heroes. What demonic cultivator out there doesn't pillage? The more we kill, the evilier we are, the further we walk on the demonic path. and our demonic hero's life will thus find its glorious meaning. 4 lunatics is more like it. Li Jingtian mocked. Zhuofan scratched his nose, getting pissed as well. You're the narrow-minded ones. I have studied the demonic path my entire life, even becoming the demonic emperor. And then here you are telling me I'm the shallow one when it comes to it? At the end of it all, the so-called demonic path comes down to one word only: selfishness. Any and all demonic cultivators are cool-headed, working only to further their benefits by any means necessary. In fact, pillaging is against our path. For us, this is only a means to an end, not our purpose. But these 4 blokes turned the method into a purpose. They couldn't be more wrong. If the demon path goal was this, then the entire world would have long turned on them and wiped them out. Just why the hell did the demon scheming sect even take them in? Zhuofan held his head, not bothered to waste any more time with these blokes. But his heart was in doubt. Just who released them? And why? He thought for a while but found no answer. Zhuofan continued, "Why did you attack us then? Who told you to?" Dumb luck." Violent Demon mumbled. Zhuofan shook his head. "Elderly, waste him." Wait, I'm being honest here." Violent Demon looked at Zhuofan on the verge of crying. Why is this lil bro so bent on wasting people? He was even more violent than even himself, that's the truth of it. Since our escape from Thunderswarm Mountain, we laid 4 cities to ruin and killed around 500,000 people. We soon found ourselves bored and were about to choose our 5th city to waste when we met an imp at some point and made a bet with him, who knew we'd lose and had to promise to look for ingredients in his stead. And where were we supposed to find it? Robbing people, of course, especially those in the profound heaven stage or above. Their rings must be loaded with ingredients. So, you saw us flying there and just up and threw your black staff at us? Zhuofan stared Violent Demon down, looking for lies and forcing him to squeeze a nod. We thought we'd find plenty of good stuff and complete the bet, but who knew we'd fail right at the start? Such a dumb luck, wah. Violent Demon started bawling like a kid, which threw the other 3 into doing the same. Zhuofan and Li Jingtian were stumped. These little twerps are weirdos, no kidding. One minute they were savage, the next they played the victim, like wronged children. Fine, don't cry. Whoever cries, I'll waste him. Zhuofan shouted and the tears grounded to a halt. Zhuofan shook his head inwardly. I just can't tell when they're being real or just faking it. But he still had some doubts that needed clarified. You guys know when to concede having lost a bet. Of course. We are demonic heroes. When have we ever been anything but trustworthy? Violent Demon puffed up his chest and spoke self-righteously. The other brothers followed suit, looking him in the eye. Zhuofan walked to him and squinted. The 4 looked back cautiously, their hearts in their throat. Li Jingtian came before Zhuofan and said, Steward Zhua, can we trust anything that came out of their mouths? Zhuofan nodded and said, their heads may be screwed on wrong and speaking in tongues, but they are more or less telling the truth. The one who released them wished to incite chaos in Tianyu. They're not here for us. Then, we can rest easy and continue onward to Thunderswarm Mountain. I was afraid our tracks were followed, and someone laid a trap for us. Li Jingtian sighed. Zhuofan nodded, but his face was dead serious like this. The 2 stood there in silence for a while. Zhuofan was mulling over something and Li Jingtian stayed nearby so he wouldn't disturb. As for the 4 demons, they were watching the duo nervously, worried for their poor lives. Finally, Li Jingtian couldn't help but voice his confusion. Steward Zhua, are you thinking about our trip to Thunderswarm Mountain or how to deal with these guys? Ha, since these little guys' interference wasn't on purpose, then Thunderswarm Mountain will be safe. As for these weirdos, I'm of a mind to recruit them. It just so happens that I have a unity tactic on me that suits them like a glove. Zhuofan smiled. Li Jingtian nodded. I knew Steward Zhua is lenient and found them appealing. But, Steward Zhua, don't you need to think it further? You may offend the demon scheming sect if you take them. Hardly. Since demon scheming sect threw them away and ignored them for 60 years, it won't matter. Moreover, true great men don't mind trifles and are unafraid of some petty danger. So stop thinking as if this is a matter of epic importance. Juefan shook his head, then Steward Jua wants to. Sighing, Juefan took out the bloodworm gourd and frowned. I no longer have on me cold spiritual beast blood, so how can I place an active bloodworm egg in the pills and hoodwink the 4 morons into taking them? Their brains may be slow, but they are radiant stage experts still. Li Jingtian watched him oddly and blinked in awkwardness. Steward Jua, they are under our complete control. I assume there's no need to go as far as hoodwinking them into eating the pill as well. Shuddering, Juefan went beet red and face slapped himself. What a fool I am! I deceived Li Jingtian into taking the bloodworm because he was just too amazing. But against these 4 little twerps under my control I don't need to waste so much time. I'll just give it to them. Sigh. Here I am saying others have screwed up heads, while mine is on the fritz as well. Juefan blushed hotter, even avoiding Li Jingtian's gaze. Elderly, please forget that just now. Li Jingtian stifled a laughter, watching this treacherous Steward Jua. Who knew he'd be so oblivious today? Steward Jua, could you give me 2 of those worms? I want to try stuffing it into others' mouths as well. Li Jingtian snickered as he saw Juefan closing in on the 4. Juefan raised an eyebrow and smiled. Sure. Thus the 2, with 2 worms each, snickered at the 4 demons. The 4 were now shaking in fear and wailing. What are you planning? Haven't we been honest here? Why are you still? Bloodworms entered each of their mouths, forever branding them with the Luo clan's seal. Chapter 227, Godly Tactic. Chapter 227, Godly Tactic. With that settled, Juefan had Li Jingtian release the 4 and restore their cultivation. The first thing the 4 did with their newfound freedom was to band together and assume that dumb pose again. Humph, you got some nerve tying us up and feeding us worms. This shame has to be paid back. Even if you surrender, we will not spare your miserable lives. Yeah, we won't spare your miserable lives for sure. The other 3 demons mimicked Violent Demon. Yet Li Jingtian and Juefan shared a look and sneered. The 4 demons were puzzled. What's going on? Why aren't they cowering? Before they could make sense of anything, a blood mark appeared on their heads and threatened to burst their skulls like a balloon. The 4 forwent their haughty attitude in favor of rolling on the ground and holding their heads, all while their eyes threatened to explode from how bloodshot they were. Juefan sauntered over and sneered. Then, explained the deal with the bloodworms. This seemed to get through to them, that they were at the mercy of a kid. If you want to live, listen closely. Of course we will, so stop it already. My head's about to pop. Yeah, you're our boss now. Screw that rotten old Violent Demon. You bastard, no sense of loyalty. Haven't we got the same mother? Daddy, please get rid of these treacherous bastards. I'm more than enough to look after you. They are not worth shit. Juefan's face twitched and Li Jingtian's mood sank. These little shits have no shame at all. They were the most immoral radiant stage expert the 2 ever saw. Juefan was still having second thoughts if taking this immoral 4 under him would only come back to haunt him, even calling me a damn daddy? Sigh, God, I hope this won't come back to bite me. Juefan lamented inside and his hand sign changed, relieving the 4 of their pain. The 4 demons went on their knees on the spot and hugged Juefan's legs. Daddy, I'm yours forever and always. Oh, please don't let that bug give your child a tummy ache. Juefan's brows were shuddering and kicked the fool. Not one damn bone in your back. What? Daddy wants to see us show off our backbone? With a shine in their eyes, the 4 joined together in their retarded pose and shouted, We are the demonic heroes, the Abominable 4. Our daddy is daddy, what was your name again? Zhuofan felt like spitting blood. Li Jingtian was laughing his heart out. Who'd ever believe these four weirdos, the four scheming demons, who had him on the ropes before now had no morals whatsoever. Zhuofan glared at the four. You are forbidden from calling me that, or I'll have the worms wreck your body so bad you'd be begging for the sweet release of death. Yes, mommy. The four imps puffed their chests, totally guessing Zhuofan's meaning. Zhuofan reeled, almost collapsing. He glared at them. That's goddamn worse. You're even changing my gender. Call me Steward Zhuo. Zhuofan emphasized each word as he spat through gnashed teeth. The four stood at attention and shouted, Yes, Steward Zhuo. Zhuofan finally breathed easier. No wonder they're called the Abominable Four Scheming Demons. It's like fighting with the demons of the underworld. He finally figured out why Demon Scheming Sect ignored these dunces for 60 years. Spending but a moment around these fools would cut one's life short from anger. Though they had one redeeming quality, they were strong. With the Luo clan on the rise, it needed strong experts. Once the clan situation stabilized, the first ones I'll put down for good will be these four weirdos. Zhuofan said, You are now one of us now, so explain to me this unity tactic. A violent demon looked at his brothers and spoke with difficulty. It is a secret art of Demon Scheming Sect. We can't reveal it. Zhuofan nodded. That's how a human should act. At least they aren't complete wastes, knowing when to be loyal. Even if the Demon Scheming Sect threw them away for 60 years, they were still protecting their secrets. But what he heard next filled Zhuofan with a sudden and most compelling urge to choke the life out of them. The thing is, only we four can train it. It's our secret. If we let it slip, we'll easily be defeated in the future. That's too dangerous. How about we tell you of demon scheming sects guarding array instead, or where they keep their scriptures, or where sect leader's room is perhaps. Zhuofan waved him off, clenching his fists hard. One could even hear the grinding of teeth. You sure like spilling the beans on everything about the demon scheming sect. Zhuofan laughed from anger, already regretting his decision. The day might come where you'd even sell me out. The four looked at each other but remained silent. Then they each looked elsewhere and started whistling. This only worked to fuel Zhuofan's rage as he barked, Hurry up and fork out that unity tactic, or I'll end you right here, right now. The four nodded in panic. That was fine, since their lives were in Zhuofan's hands. Not even the unity tactic could save them from this. So they started to string up all the details pertaining to the secret art. Li Jingtian listened from the side, now understanding what made the four's attacks so strange and hard to counter. The unity tactic only worked when four people were intrinsically connected on the biological and spiritual level. This unity tactic was called Four Hearts Formation, pointing at the four human emotions: happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. Violent demon trained anger to the point of being berserk. Once he struck, nothing could stand up to him. Scrooge demon trained sorrow to the point of a grudge. He shifted from real to illusory, throwing the enemy off guard. He was swift like a ghost and impossible to throw off, giving his opponent a very hard time. Sly demon trained happiness to the point of ecstasy. Swift like the wind, leaving behind only afterimages. Wimp demon trained joy to the point of being whimsical. And since he was also cowardly by nature, he reached the peak of defensive arts. In short, the eldest brother was in charge of power, third bro in charge of speed, second bro and fourth bro in charge of movement arts. But even they were different, with second bro in charge of attacking movements while fourth bro with defensive ones. If any four people trained like this, they'd end up as waste, with only the eldest bro having enough power to do some damage. The other three couldn't do anything to their enemy. Yet, in this lay the crux of the Four Hearts Formation. It allowed the four to combine their advantages and become one, effectively multiplying their power. This was why the four charged all together at Li Jingtian and gave him a hard time. The four of them turned into the eldest brother, Violent Demon. Then the four surrounded Li Jingtian but turned into third brother, Sly Demon. and why Li Jingtian could never harm Sly Demon once despite having him in his grip was all thanks to Wimp Demon's ability. Li Jingtian then ended up half-naked because Scrooge Demon bestowed his ability on his brothers this way. One man's ability was transferred to the four. And since they were of four, their power would multiply. The enemy would be left flabbergasted, unable to cope with the situation before meeting his ultimate demise, but if this secret was leaked, there was no more reason to fear them. As long as they stopped the four's change into violent demon, they'd be finished because the other three's power came nowhere near the first. So this strange formation had me on the ropes. Li Jingtian caressed his bead, but it does have a weakness. The four of you can't use all of your abilities at the same time. Otherwise, it would truly be insane. Really? Then I'll help them reach that point. With a sly grin, Zhuofan showed a jade slip. Abominable 4 scheming demons, since you are now with me, I will make it worth your while. This is also a unity tactic, 4-division formation. The users would move to the 4 cardinal points, with the 5 elements endearing one another, making each one of you use all the others' abilities. Furthermore, it will also work to boost your personal ability by 3 layers. What? The 4 demons cried out and Li Jingtian smacked his lips. It's insane enough they can use all the others' abilities, but it can even increase their power by 3 layers? Ain't that the same as facing the 4 scheming demons at the 6th layer of Radiant stage? Zhuofan smiled, correct? With the 4 divisions amplifying each other, everyone can use anyone's ability. They will have speed, power, movements, defense, thus becoming true monsters. Not to mention, it complements the 4 hearts formation. As for raising them 3 layers, that's only in the beginning stage of the 4-division formation. Once they reach the mid-stage, the amplification would raise their power by 6 layers, and if trained to peak, by a whole stage. In other words, the 4 of them will become as strong as a peak Radiant stage expert. Li Jingtian was slack-jawed, watching Zhuofan incredulous. Steward Zhua, are you perhaps someone who fled a super sect or something? The 4-division formation is insanely more outrageous than the 4 hearts formation. Where the hell did you come up with this treasure? Secret. Zhuofan smiled mysteriously. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.